Chapter 5150. It's a pity. Jian Wushuang shook his head secretly. If these people didn't leave, Baking would have to die here. This kind-hearted Luoshui fairy, with mediocre strength, not even as good as Gu Yuan, is also the bottom of their group. Otherwise, she wouldn't be allowed to stay with Jian Wushuang either. Little novice Huiking's eyes turned, just to look at Jian Wushuang, and nodded with a slight smile. Since he stepped into the Tao, Jian Wushuang felt that the little novice monk had changed a lot, and his personality, mood, and strength had undergone earth-shaking changes. The heart of killing shall not be leaked, and the heart of defense shall not be lost. Now when he recalled the scene when the young novice monk's strength exploded, he couldn't believe it. If a person can burst out of potential in a dangerous situation, increase his strength by 30% to 50%, or directly break through the original realm, just like he suddenly became a Dayan immortal, this can also be explained. But the little novice's original strength was at most an ordinary fairy cultivator. From the ordinary fairy cultivator stepped into the ninth-ranked Dayan fairy, although he fell to the realm later. But the 6th-ranked Dayan fairy was genuine. There are so many such temporary breakthroughs, not to mention that he hasn't seen it before. And he hasn't even thought about it. He thought it was because of himself when Da Huang had changed. Now it seems that the little novice monk is more like the protagonist. There are too many secrets behind all of this. The sudden emperor fall, and that terrifying white wave of air all show that the emperors, and the resurrected existence, have already handed over the hands of the real Wuyang Tongtian Buddha. I just don't know who won and who has fallen. People at this level can't get involved at all. And staying in the wilderness is even more burdensome. Jian Wushuang slowly closed his eyes. No matter what, it is important to restore his strength first. While restoring his mind and mind power leisurely, Ju Yu and others outside the crowd desperately slayed ghosts. There is no way there are too many. Just after killing one batch, another batch emerged from the crack. Brother Ju Yu, it's no way to go on like this. Yeah, there are too many ghosts, we can't kill them at all. Everyone was comfortable at first, but these ghosts were unaware, fearless to death, and extremely powerful. And several of them possessed the strength of the 9 ranks consummation Dayan immortal. After Ju Yu killed the nearby 9-ranking Dayan immortal level ghosts, he glanced around, sinking in his heart. Not good. At the same time, on the other side of the wilderness, the temporary formation of the Qishui Alliance and the Ion Tower are extremely easy, with a large number of emperors and powerful people opening their way. And there is no need for Dayan immortal to work hard. This great wasteland is so dangerous. The girl from the Great Dream Realm lay on the hallway of the main hall, looking at the ghosts that were shattered by the Emperor's aura. You girl, if we don't have ancestors, we are faced with so many ghosts, let alone looking for the Temple of the Gods. It is extremely difficult to live here. A middle-aged Dayan immortal frowned. He didn't know if the ancestors did it right. Let them, like the Dayan immortal who had been living in the Great Dream Realm, come to look for the Temple of Qishan in this great wilderness. Whether it is Dayan immortal or monarch, after entering the great wilderness, the mood began to change slightly. In the rift of the void, a snake wandered in the void, with black horns on the top of the snake's head, and his huge eyes turned a few times and continued to swim forward. There are still not enough people. A black smoke suddenly appeared on the top of the snake's head. After the smoke disappeared, a middle-aged Taoist stood on the top of the snake's head. He wears a white robe, a high crown, and a purple eye on the center of his brow. He peeped from afar when the great wilderness first waved, but he was not in this universe yet. Are all the people in this election so useless? 18 gods will all be killed. The strongest gods are only the level of a 4th-order emperor, and the master's face has been lost by this group of people. The middle-aged Taoist stood, muttered to himself on the head of the big snake. Hey Chi snake, your mental strength is getting more and more interesting. The middle-aged Taoist touched the horns of the big snake, and the purple eyes at the center of his eyebrows kept turning. Since I'm awake, why don't you come out to see me? The middle-aged Taoist shouted angrily at a dark corner in the void. There was dead silence in the dark corner. As soon as the middle-aged Taoist's voice fell, a hunched old man walked out of it, and he was still holding a light lantern in his hand. I am the servant of the old master. Not your servant, you have to be clear. The humpbacked old man walks staggeringly in front of the middle-aged Taoist holding the Ming lantern. There are too many secrets revealed in this question and answer. But unfortunately, in this gap, there is no one other than the two of them. Even the Fifth Order Emperor. It is impossible to conceal the two of them. You dog minion, secretly reviving the temple. I thought you could make the group of waste take a few steps. And the result was that most of them died as soon as they recovered. The middle-aged Taoist looked down on the humpbacked old man and said sarcastically, he followed the temple of Qishan from the long river of time and space to the original universe. At that time, he was seriously injured and has been deposited in the void. Until now, his injuries have not completely recovered. Originally thinking of letting those gods inherit the way of the gods, come to get some benefits from the temple of the gods. He came forward to kill those inheritors and seize the treasures. But I didn't expect these people to be too wasteful. And it was almost a reincarnation to inherit the temple of Qishan. And there was not even a Fifth Order Emperor. You must know that the threshold for inheritance of the Qishan temple is very high. The so-called 18 gods are just the watchdog of the outer hall. Only after the Fifth Order Emperor can he enter the inner hall to select treasures. It is a pity that none of these wastes reached the Fifth Order Emperor. Okay, a few nonsense. I am the only living disciple of the God of God. His treasure should belong to me. Let's talk about how many treasures you get from the inner temple. I don't want too much. It is enough to restore my strength. The middle-aged Taoist said in a cold voice. Selfishness and greed spread from the outside to the inside, and he was extremely domineering, and did not save any face to the humpbacked old man. Usual, I am not here to give you treasures, but to inform you that you have been removed from the temple of Qishan. The hunched old man said slowly, his expression unchanged. Exclusion? You are worthy of removing my name. You are just a lingering slave. The middle-aged Taoist named Wuxia couldn't help but roar. Wuxia had a foreboding in his heart, but he still couldn't believe it. After all, he had nothing now. If the temple of Qishan had removed him, how could he profit? The calmness on the face of the hunched old man gradually disappeared, replaced by a breath of death, which made the folds of the ravines tremble slightly. Wuxia stepped back involuntarily for a moment. I don't have the right to remove you, but the true spirit in the Qishan temple can. The humpbacked old man's voice was cold, like a sharp blade in the cold wind, piercing Wuxia's chest one after another. Lu Crow's eyes were red, and he didn't mean to pay attention to Tongtian Buddha. Thinking back to the battle just now, he is in a daze now. At first, Tongtian Buddha cooperated with them to kill the Emperor Donglin. Everything went well. Zhen Wuang couldn't make any move under the control of Dao Gong. He and Tongtian Buddha plus the emperors of Qishan Temple forced Donglin to explode. But when he thought that the situation had been reversed, Tongtian Buddha suddenly wrapped the entire temple of Qishan with 1,000 treasures robes. And he used the Qianbao robes to enter the interior of the temple of Qishan. This made Lu Yu a little unprepared, while returning to the temple of Qi, while the low-end white terrifying air wave. The same was true on Daogong's side. Zhen Wuyang suddenly broke out, directly crushing Dao Gong, and after blasting them both, Zhen Wuyang also followed the Qianbao robes and entered the temple of Qishan. Then there was a sudden rise in Qishan temple's breath, and then the emperor fell. The changes in the Qishan temple made him and Dao Gong both surprises and worries. After the skyrocketing, the Qishan temple exudes the atmosphere of a sacrificial platform, which is obviously different from the past. But the two of them couldn't get in at all, and the entire Qishan temple was wrapped in 1,000 treasures robes. Just when they were both anxiously turning around, Zhen Wuyang and Tong Tian, who entered the Qishan temple, were suddenly teleported out. The two of them were still stained with brown blood. It is conceivable that everyone inside might be dead. Losing the protection of the Qishan temple, a group of second-tier and third-tier emperors faced Zhen Wuyang and Tong Tian, and they were completely slaughtered. Although they have practiced the devouring Tao of the Qishan, each of them is extremely strong in the same rank, but they can't resist the two top emperors of the fourth rank. When Tong Tian and Zhen Yang just left the temple of Qi, did not do anything. They sat cross-legged in the void, which made Liuya and Daogong very puzzled. This confrontation, it's really slow enough. Zhen Wuyang was a little impatient. After the two of them entered the hall, they directly killed the emperors. And then no matter how they tried to refine the hall, they were unsuccessful, and there was no treasure in it. Just when the two were about to forcibly break the sacrificial platform, an ancient aura radiated from it, condensing a powerful true spirit. The two of them could not move in front of the true spirit, and then they were sent out in the dark Temple of Qi. However, the true spirit also left a word for both of them. The trial is about to begin, waiting for the others to arrive. Now it seems to be waiting for these people. He still knew that the Ion Tower was the pinnacle power. As for the so-called Qishui Alliance, he didn't know most of the other emperors, except the Qishui Walker. But it seems that almost all the powerhouses in the eastern region of the primordial universe have arrived. Laugh. The Ion Pagoda slowly landed and stopped on the Xiangu Road, and many emperors inside jumped out. Are you the real Wuyang of Desiyu? The Master of Wind and Rain glanced at Qishan Temple, and then asked, with a very domineering tone. When she left, she collected information about the Great Wilderness, which was regarded as the realm of Zhen Wuyang, and the Temple of Qishan also appeared in the Desai domain at first, and the news was also sent by Zhen Wuyang himself. Now comes naturally ask Zhen Wuyang first. It's under. Zhen Wuyang slowly got up, put away his fierceness and replied calmly. The name of the Wind and Rain Demon Lord. He knew after he became an emperor. He studied under the Fifth Order Emperor Zhutian, and controlled the Ion, the first power in the eastern region. Chapter 51-52. If the power of the Ion Tower is mobilized, Fengyu Demon Lord's strength has reached the Fifth Order threshold, far surpassing everyone present. The powerhouses near Desiyu once thought that the Emperor Donglin was the first powerhouse, followed by the Master Fengma of the Tongtian Buddha and himself. However, after this battle, both he and Tongtian Buddha's strengths have reached the top of Tier 4, which is stronger than the average master. Especially the supreme treasure robes of the Tongtian Buddha has reached the pinnacle level. Few of the Fourth Order emperors have it, and these treasures plus their own strength are enough to rank in the top 10 of the eastern region. The strength is good. Let's talk about the Temple of Qishan. Fengyu Demon Lord didn't talk nonsense, and came here all the way. Naturally everything is dominated by the Temple of Qishan. Without waiting for Zhen Wuyang to reply, Tongtian Buddha turned away and said, Great Wind and Rain Demon Lord, here are two inheritors from the Temple of Qishan. After I came here we confronted him. Unfortunately, we were not strong enough and didn't get it from them. Any useful information? Tongtian Buddha clasped his hands together, with a harmless face of humans and animals. It was not at all aware that he was still doing a big killing here, and the 6 crows and Daogong couldn't change hands. When Zhen Wuyang heard this, he didn't know how to say it for a while, and to the extent of shamelessness, he only now understood the gap with the other party. Siege of Donglin, and let the Emperor of Qishan Temple put down his guard can be thought of. And now he has poured dirty water on Lu Crow and Daogong. Knowing all this, Zhen Wuyang is now a little admired by the sky. Even he couldn't bear it anymore. After all, Luya and Daogong said they were his old predecessors. They came from Desiyu together, and they were more or less unbearable. Zhen Wuyang's expression sank. He glanced at Tongtian Buddha, and finally said firmly, Tongtian is right. Luya and Daogong's faces flushed, and they stood up and prepared to speak. Unexpectedly, he was drowning in the red water traveler in the distance, and he couldn't lift his head under the pressure. Yes, the aura is very consistent with the exudation in the Qishan Temple. It seems that these two are the inheritors. Qishui Traveler felt that there was no danger, and his figure appeared in front of Fengyu Demon in a flash, and he squeezed it. Christina's neck. It's just that this strength is too weak, and it hasn't even reached the ordinary level of Tier 4. Qishui Walker is a little disgusted. This is a little different from the powerful inheritance he imagined. They have been framed by Tongtian and Zhenwuyang, and now they are dismissed for their weak strength. This is the strongest Taoist, who has comprehended the Tao of the Qishan. His face is flushed with anger, and his strength is not enough. If he can retreat from the whole body this time, he vowed to testify to the temple of Taoism and wash away today's shame. Lu Kuo was very scheming, and he didn't expect to have a Tongtian Buddha who was more shameless than Jin Wuyang. But fortunately, this is a great wasteland, his dojo, and his strength is barely able to reach the top level. Enough, this is my dojo. If you want to get the Temple of Qixin, go ahead and talk about it. Originally, he still wanted to be a little domineering and let these people step on his body to enter the Temple of Qixin. But when he thought of Tongtian Buddha and Jin Wuyang could enter the Temple of Qixin under his nose, and he didn't have the guts to say such a thing again. Qishui Walker and Fengyu Demon Lord gave him the feeling that it surpassed Jin Wuyang and Tongtian Buddha. Either one of these two can crush him, and even threaten to fall. Oh, forget you. Qishui Walker captured Dao Gong. As the number one player on the scene, she naturally couldn't fall. The eternal tower of unlimited power shrank instantly, becoming the size of a palm, directly suppressing the 6 crows under the tower. Okay, let's talk now. There were more than 100 emperors present, and there were thousands of rank 9 Dayan Immortals. Many of them were elites in Dayan Immortal, and the weakest were the 9 ranked Dayan Immortals who entered the 4th stage avenue. At this time I saw Wind and Rain. The Demon Lord and Qishui Traveler casually suppressed the 4th Order Emperor, and both leaked unprecedented respect. Is this the 4th Order peak powerhouse? Suppressed the same level at will. Dao Gong didn't say anything. An emperor who crossed the 4th Order threshold, but Lu Kuo touched a top-level emperor, and was unexpectedly suppressed. The distance between Jin Wuyang and the Tongtian Buddha unknowingly narrowed a lot. The two of them were on the same boat at this time. Although their strengths were both at the top level of Tier 4, they did not resist much against these two peak Tier 4 emperors. All are sure can only hold a group for warmth. Since Tongtian and Jin Wuyang entered, Dao Gong and I can't enter anymore. It's useless if you kill both of us. Lu Ye knew what a general situation was irreversible, and at this time he was also subdued. He was also telling the truth. He didn't know the changes in the Qixin Temple either. Only Tongtian and Jin Wuyang knew about it. After the two of them entered the Qixin Temple, Fenghua and others fell one after another. The entire Qixin Temple was wrapped in 1,000 treasures robes, and could not be broken at all. Now these two people have pushed everything to his head, and he is also having a terrible headache. Qishui had already reached the level of Minghua's original mind, and he could tell at a glance that it didn't look like a lie. But if it was as Lu Kuo said, then it would be troublesome. The treasure is at your fingertips, but he can't move. The power of the Temple of Qixin surpassed any treasure they saw. Even if all the emperors present together cannot shake the Temple of Qixin at all, it is like there is no void in it. Although it can be seen and touched, it can't get in. Wind and Rain. God Emperor Zhutian can be notified about the affairs of Qixin Temple. Qishui is now anxious, and it is useless, so he can only ask Fengyu Majuan in a side-by-side manner. He may not know the answer Fengyu Majuan, but her master Zhutian Divine Emperor, as a 5th Order Emperor, has been walking in the long river of time and space for many years, and he must have more knowledge than these emperors who do not often go out of the universe. The reputation of the Qixin Temple is very big in the long river of time and space. There are various legends. Some experts even believe that the Qixin Temple is related to ancient civilizations. This is also the same. The atmosphere of the Qixin Temple is indeed very similar to that of ancient civilizations. However, the Temple of Qixin has only appeared once or twice in the long river of time and space. Every time they appear, countless monarchs will come to watch, but there is no way for this Temple of the Gods to enter. There are also people who try to suppress and subdue them. In the end, they can't even touch them. In the end, they can only watch. Flying towards the endless starry sky with Qixin Temple. Some of these legends, Qishui Walker also knew a little, but it was the first time he saw the Temple of Qixin, and the Temple of Qixin actually stood there. It doesn't look like it can run, and now the inheritors of the Temple of Qixin have also confirmed that they have accepted the inheritance inside, so they still have a great chance. Especially the fifth-order emperors in the primitive universe are all in the time and space of Hanoi. Now he still has the qualification to speak. If he waits until the fifth-order emperors return, he can only follow behind. At that time, he has no right to speak at all. Chapter 51-53. Regardless of the fact that many forces have taken refuge in him and formed the Qishui alliance, once a fifth-order emperor appears, these people are faster than running. Now he just wants to fight with his strength. He has no ethnic group or power, and he has no race or power. Only if the strength is strong will it be respected by all the forces. After all, his ability alone is limited, and he is better controlled. If he succeeds, he will be selected first. Anyway, the number of people will divide the result. Most of the forces in the Qishui alliance think this way. Even if Qishui wants to swallow them alone, they have the strength to resist. Qishui Traveler, who has always been known as the most conspiracy and trickery, is also on the thief ship this time. He has no choice but to bite the bullet. If there is no one peak power at this time, even if he is a tier 4 peak emperor, he won't get any benefit from so many strong people. Only by drawing one power can compete with other peak powers. He understood that the two sides used each other. But in the end, when it comes to dividing the treasures, I am afraid that there will be a big melee. There will be no allies by then, and everyone in front of them can be killed. In the crevice of the pitch-black void, Wu sat cross-legged on top of the black snake. This black snake was the puppet given to him by the god when he became the sixth-order emperor. It's a pity that there are a lot of internal damages now, without the strength of the past. If he can repair it at the peak of strength, but the damage of the divine body is too serious to restore the strength of the sixth stage in the peak period. A lot of treasures are needed. These treasures are not to be found in the universe. Even in the long river of time and space, he can only hope in the temple of Qishan. Being able to participate in the trial together this time is considered not to be removed in vain. Once the strength is restored to the peak, few people in this river area are his opponents. And he can also rely on the inheritance of the gods to aspire to the peak of the universe. Seeing these aboriginal monarchs quarreling constantly, he was also a bit funny, but they could break the temple of the god of God, just a bunch of ants. When Qishan Temple was refining, he had seen several masters under the Qishan's command destroy a universe, pulled away from its origin, and injected it into the Qishan Temple. The origin of a universe, how strong that kind of energy is. Even the Lord of the universe needs several people to pull it away. If it is destroyed, the Lord of the universe can do it. The difficulty is that it does not destroy it. Take it out next. The power of the origin is the core of the universe, and the core of the temple of Qishan is also a origin. The power of this origin surpasses the universe, and is comparable to several beautiful universes. Those emperors from the Great Siyu entered only an outer hall, and there were no treasures in it. The only useful thing about that outer hall is probably its origin. There are many outer halls of the Temple of Qi, and every outer hall has a small origin. These origin powers are all hatched from the core origin of the Qishan Temple, and the origin also contains the Qishan Dao. In Wu's view, directly practicing the Qishan Dao is the most stupid way. What's more, these people claim to be 18 gods, 108 messengers, which is really ignorant to Wuxia. The Temple of Qi was indeed guarded by 3 major gods, 18 gods and 108 messengers. But if you want to get the inheritance of these people, you must at least have the strength of a fifth-order emperor. Now the envoys who have been entrusted by these natives are all 9 ranks consummation, and there are even many 9 ranks Dayan immortals. They have inherited the origin contained in the outer hall, and the enlightenment of the envoys of the great gods and envoys who sit in the seat and try to reach the top is simply ridiculous. If it is really possible to achieve the top of the universe with the devouring avenue that contains only some fur of the gods in the outer hall, I am afraid that the gods will marvel at this person's understanding. But it is a pity that he has fallen. When the people quarreled, they didn't realize that in the gap between the void, there was a super strong man laughing at them, and this super strong was the only living disciple of this god. Wind and rain, don't say it so absolutely. The Emperor Zhu has been away for so long. Even if he rushes back now, even if he teleports all the way, it will take 1,000,000 years. If the treasure is used to teleport, it will take thousands of years. Let's go in now. That is also for the Divine Emperor to explore the way in advance. Now if you don't say some useful information, if I wait for danger in it, this is also a great loss to the Divine Emperor. Wuxia suppressed his voice, turning his eyes and whispering, or the Emperor God gave you news about the Temple of Qixin, but you kept it private. The voice was indeed lowered, but all the emperors present, and even the 9 turns Yanxian could clearly hear this sentence. If all the people present are mortals, then you may not be able to hear it. But the one here is not a super strong person. Even if the sound is as loud as a mosquito, you can still hear it from there. What's more, these words were spoken by Qishui Traveler, and the words spoken by a 4th Order Peak Emperor. If they were in a small world, they could all be said to follow the law. Especially the sentence just now, it was almost impossible for people outside the region to know. If you really don't want them to hear, just a barrier will completely isolate them. As soon as this sentence came out, no matter who it was, her heart trembled. No matter whether she believed it or not, she would be isolated. Even the Emperor of the Ion has a crisis of confidence in the wind and rain demon. Yu reading www.akanshu.com. Although these people are the overlords of a world, they are peerless powerhouses who stand out among countless arrogances. But they are equally vulnerable in front of the Dao Dao. If you are a person, you will have a comparison. When you hear this sentence, you will compare yourself whether you believe it or not. If you are the wind and rain demon lord, and know some information about the temple of the gods, such as how to get in, will he tell other people himself? This is to seek the philosophy on the road. Only martial arts is in a single word. The stronger you are, the lonely you will be. This loneliness is reflected in the fierceness of fighting for opportunities. The demon lord of wind and rain is the demon lord. That is, she disdains to do these indiscriminate things, and can kill him. So she will never say a word. Qishui, you are looking for death. Wang. The Ion Tower has infinite power, and it flies out of the palm of the wind and rain demon monarch in an instant, and it is suspended above the head of Qishui Traveler in the form of 1,000 battles. I only said this once. Master did not respond to anything in the Temple of Qixin. Fengyu Demon Lord's delicate face revealed a trace of murderous aura. From the outside, it's hard to imagine this girl with a slender body suppressing the major forces in the entire eastern region. Who knows? Qishui Walker retreated into the Alliance Hall. Don't worry, since I was recommended by everyone as the leader, I will naturally protect you. You can stand behind me. Today I want to see how strong this wind and rain demon is, and how powerful the Ion is. Chapter 51-54. Wan Dao Sword Sovereign. What Qishui Traveler said was impassioned, and anyone who didn't understand his character would probably believe it. First, the wind and rain demon lord was placed, and now all the forces in the alliance were used as a shield. If you really want to fight the wind and rain monarch, just go out and fight. Why do you have to return to the hall? Everyone was cursing secretly in their hearts, but clearly they had to say that the leader was righteous. This scene made Tongtian Buddha and Zhen Wuyang watch again and again. No loss is the 4th Order Peak Emperor, who can do everything without leakage. Under this operation, Tongtian and Zhen Wuyang secretly made up their minds that no one could cooperate with Qishui Traveler. This person's shamelessness exceeds the sum of the two of them. There are not a few strong people in DCU, and only Zhen Wuyang is alone. He is not a big power, he is okay. The Tongtian Buddha is different. He governs 3,000 great worlds, and there are dozens of emperors and powerful under his command. Although Dongyin and Wuliang each lead a faction, the general trend is irreversible now, and they can't get over any waves at all. Dongyin himself fell again, and Dongyin realm naturally fell into his hands. Boundless own strength was still much worse, and he was also needed. Taking advantage of this opportunity, he can just unify his own forces. But under the premise of all this, he still has to focus on the Temple of Qixin. Behind Qishui Xingzhe appeared 6 4th Order Emperors, Two of them were top level. He faced Wind and Rain Demon Lord alone. The chance of winning was only 10%, and his life was 100% certain. Although he was not afraid of Wind and Rain Demon Lord, at this time, he must not let other people in the Qishui alliance stand on the mountain and watch the tiger fight. Brother Qishui, they'll wait to help you. Several emperors began to speak one after another. Although they didn't say anything in words, Xinli was extremely contemptuous of Qishui's behavior. Wind and Rain Devil, don't think that our small forces are easy to bully. Then several third-order emperors appeared one after another, standing behind Qishui and several fourth-order emperors. Seeing this, the strong on the Ion side also appeared one after another. Several Tier 4 emperors and dozens of Tier 3 emperors appeared behind Fengyu Majuan, and they also exuded powerful pressure. Although these monarchs were dissatisfied with Fengjia's sudden action, but Fengyu Demon Lord was the person in charge of the Ion, and at this time, even if he was dissatisfied, he had to take action. Wind and Rain, wait a minute. When the battle was about to start, Qishui Traveler suddenly called a halt, letting everyone breathe a sigh of relief. Now that the Temple of Qishan is right in front of you, no benefits are gained. None of them want to have a conflict at this time. The melee of so many powerful people will definitely fall. The Emperor and the strong are not easy to cultivate, and no one wants to fall, let alone. I fell myself. The melee of so many powerhouses. Even the fourth-order emperor may fall accidentally, let alone those third-order and second-order emperors. As for ordinary first-order emperors and Dian immortals, they don't even have the ability to participate in the war. The battle of the top emperors. Any aftermath of the battle can annihilate them, let alone participate in this level of battle. They don't even have the right to watch. Fengyu Demon Lord glanced back and glanced at her own powerhouse. She could feel that these people didn't want to fight now, so she calmed down and said, Qishui, what else do you have to say? Wind and Rain, everyone knows that we will fight sooner or later, but before the fight, we'd better stand in line. Qishui said and glanced at the Tongtian Buddha and Jin Wuyang, as well as the immeasurable Buddha and others who have returned. There was a curse in everyone's hearts, and they knew that the old guy hadn't acted well. However, this sentence did arouse the attention of Fengyu Demon Lord, and he also glanced at everyone, especially the two of Jin Wuyang and Tongtian Buddha. Tier 4 top emperors. There are only less than 10 in the entire eastern quarter of the universe. This is an absolute top combat power. Especially Tier 5 emperors have not returned, and their Ion cannot be ranked in the peak power. Mao, mainly because of the eternal treasure. If you can win 2 Tier 4 top emperors at this time, you will be able to stabilize the Qishui alliance when there is a fight in the future. If this is the case, then you all express your opinion. I absolutely welcome those who are willing to come to my Ion. My master will return soon. In the end, the battle for the Temple of the Gods will still be the choice of the fifth-order emperors. You have to consider it carefully. The Wind and Rain Demon Lord said with some threats and warnings. It was not only to Jin Wuyang and the others, but also to shake the confidence within the Qishui alliance. The fifth-order emperor is heaven to them, irreversible existence. If in the end they get nothing, and offend the fifth-order emperor, it is better to take refuge in the Ion as soon as possible. Ha! Qishui Traveler snorted coldly, and his expression was a bit embarrassing, and he glanced at the real Wuyang and Tongtian Buddha, and then looked at the powerhouses in the Qishui alliance. I won't hide you guys either. The Changshangshan of the Northern Territory has contacted me secretly. They still have a position of the supreme guest, if I am willing to take refuge at any time. But I will give up. Qishui's voice was generous, and then he said loudly, None of us is not the proud child of heaven. It is not easy to practice, and we still have to be oppressed by the peak forces. Don't be fooled by their rhetoric. If you take refuge in these pinnacle forces at this time, you will be cannon fodder if you go. Even if the fifth-order emperor returns and grabs the Temple of the Gods, you really believe that they will share the meat with you with no background, no strength juniors? Don't dream now. The chance is grabbed, not allocated. Qishui Traveler shouted angrily, and he actually bluffed several lonely emperors with ideas. However, most of what he said was true. At this time he would take refuge in the pinnacle power, that is the cannon fodder. In the future, he will get the Temple of the Gods, and the Fifth Order Emperor will pick first, and then a group of disciples and grandchildren. Then they will be given their turn. Although Wind and Rain Demon Lord is the leader of one party, he is not very good at talking. Seeing this situation, he can only briefly appease and describe the power of the Fifth Order Emperor. But the stronger the Fifth Order Emperor, the more afraid they are, afraid that they will not even have the ability to resist in the future. Zhen Wuyang secretly considered that he had no power and no background, and relied purely on his own strength. It would be a wise choice to take refuge in the Ion at this time. With his strength, he is second only to Wind and Rain in the Ion existence. Even if you are a cannon fodder, you still have the strength to save your life. As for the Qishui alliance, he didn't think about it. One is because the distribution of benefits is not suitable for him, and the other is that Qishui Traveler may run away at any time, which is too unreliable. Wind and Rain dominate under Zhen Wuyang. I am willing to enter the Ion. After Zhen Wuyang has considered it clearly, he will pay directly to Fengyu Demon Lord without any ink marks. Even the Demon Lord has also been replaced by a more comfortable master. Chapter 51-55. Wan Dao Sword Sovereign Zhen Wuyang, you can think about it clearly. You are only going to seek refuge in the Ion Tower alone. They will definitely squeeze you out. It's better to join me in the Qishui Alliance. Tongtian Buddha shouted anxiously, apparently from outsiders. Care about the look of your friends. Only Zhen Wuyang and Six Crows knew that this Tongtian Buddha was definitely not at ease. Zhen Wuyang, you alas! Qishui Traveler was cunning. How could he not know the mind of the Buddha? And he sighed. Zhen Wuyang, your choice is very wise. I swear by Wind and Rain that I will never let you go to death if you lose. In the future, if the master returns, I will also recommend you to see my master. In your to see you, I will also be protected by the Ion Tower. Fengyu Demon Lord is always pragmatic and directly gave Zhen Wuyang a reassurance. What Tongtian Buddha saw was envious and jealous, but he still couldn't show it. He is not like Zhen Wuyang alone, who can choose at will. If he is also a person, he will also choose the Ion. Let alone the future, he will talk about the present form. Following the Wind and Rain is definitely more reliable than following the Qishui Traveler. But behind him, there are a large group of emperors and Dayan immortals, who can only go to the Qishui Alliance, and according to the Alliance's interests, he can also take advantage. Zhen Wuyang heard Fengyu Demon's promise, and repeatedly thanked him. Thank you for the rule of the Wind and Rain. I will dominate the front and back of the horse in the next day. What this said was also extremely popular with Wind and Rain Demon Lord. Although he is in the Ion Tower, the power in the hands of several Tier 4 top emperors under his command is not small. These emperors are all old subordinates of the Emperor Zhu Tian, and she is not easy to suppress. Now that Zhen Wuyang joins, she naturally wants to win Zhen Wuyang into his confidant. Several veterans in the Ion can also be contained in the future. Zhen Wuyang moved directly to the Ion Tower. His position was close to the ruler of the Wind and Rain, but he was half a step slower than the other Tier 4 top emperors, in order to show respect. A few old brand powerhouses of the Ion, although they don't know much about Zhen Wuyang, but now they seem to be people who are aware of current affairs. They have leaked smiles and congratulated them. Qishui League Master. I am willing to bring the strong under his command into the alliance. Tongtian Buddha's expression was extremely sincere, and he brought everyone into the hall of the Qishui Alliance. This is not surprising. Tongtian is indeed suitable for the Qishui Alliance, and when Zhen Wuyang said to take refuge in the Ion, he expressed his stance. The powerhouses in the world of Tongtian Buddhism have no choice at all, and can only follow Tongtian Buddha. Even if they have the choice, their strength is so weak that no one would appreciate it. It is better to follow the Tongtian Buddha, with the shelter of the Fourth Order Emperor, at least not to be bullied in the Qishui Alliance. The Qishui Alliance is extremely large, and the number of powerhouses is more than that of the Ion. However, the top powerhouses are evenly divided. As a Tier 4 top powerhouse, the The Qishui Alliance is also a super powerhouse that can be ranked in the top 3. This made the powerhouses in the world of Tongtian Buddhism also dazzled, and they were directly arranged at the top of Qishui Hall, as soon as they took refuge, second only to the other top powers. Although the Tongtian Buddha has a Tier 4 top combat power, the forces under his command failed to reach the top power, which is barely a big power. This is also because the Tongtian Buddha is powerful. If there is no Tongtian Buddha, their seats would not be so forward. After the two of them stood in line, everyone's eyes became sharp. Or kill the two of them first. Qishui Walker looked at Lu Crow and Daogong, who were bound. Feng Yu Majuan also nodded, expressing his approval. Luya and Daogong, the two inheritors of the Temple of the Forbidden Gods, are reluctant to say a specific message in the Temple of the Forbidden City. You scumbags, you don't deserve to be bestowed by a great god, a group of superficial ways and deeds, and you dare to kill me. Daogong was a little crazy. In the ancient times, they were unwilling to bow their heads to Zhen Wuyang. Now it is the same. Since they can't get it, no one should try to get the Temple of God. The light that swallowed the avenue instantly covered his whole body, and he had to carry a few cushions when he died. Boom! A power no less than Donglin's dominating self-destruction instantly swept the entire void. Enter the Ion Tower, hurry! Feng Yu Mojin's face turned pale, and he hurriedly collected some second-tier and third-tier monarchs behind him into the Ion. As for the Fourth Order Emperor, he has already teleported to a distant place. Although Daogong's self-detonation can't kill them, it will also cause them to be injured. At this time, it is the critical moment to compete for the Temple of Discrimination. The second and third steps of the Ion Tower are sheltered, and the many powerhouses in the Qishui Temple are miserable. No matter how the Qishui traveler took shelter, countless powerful air currents rushed into the Qishui Hall, killing a large number of dying immortals, and several unlucky First-Order Emperors fell. After a few breaths, Daogong's aura completely disappeared. This time he really fell. Will never have the opportunity to recover anymore. And the original power of the avenues tilt has also turned into Yanli returns to the origin of the universe. With the lessons learned from the past, Qishui Traveler and Feng Yu Demon rushed to Lu Crow for the first time. Don't force me, don't forget that this is my dojo. Lu Crow shouted angrily, and with the help of the origin in the Great Desolation, he broke free from the shackles, and then held the origin of the Great Desolation in one hand, and the Desolate Avenue in the other. Qishui Walker's figure paused. Daogong was just an ordinary Tier 4 Emperor. Lu Crow touched the top Tier 4 Emperor, and controlled the Great Wilderness. He was the Dao ancestor of this place. If he blew himself up, they would also have to be injured. Why do you have to kill me? I can take refuge in either of you, and I can talk about it. Luya frowned. He had already died once, and he didn't want to die again. He couldn't tolerate the slightest difference in the accumulation of billions of years. He gave up the devouring Dao of the Qishan, and took control of the Great Wilderness. He was different from himself in the Wangu era. He just wanted to survive now, and then became stronger with the help of the Qishan Temple. He didn't dare to hope to become the Lord of the Universe, and he was satisfied to be able to become a Fifth-Order Emperor. This is also the reason why he gave up the road of Qishan. Oh, what are you going to talk about? Qishui Traveler asked with great interest. If Lu Crow can really tell some useful information, it's not impossible not to kill it. Mainly, the two of them are different from Xinwiang Tongtian Buddha. Liuya and Daogong are both inheritors of the Qishan Temple, and they don't want to say anything. If it is kept in case they enter the Qishan Temple again, and run away with the Qishan Temple, when the time comes, they are in big trouble. They can feel the power of the Qishan Temple. If they want to leave, let alone them. Even the Fifth-Order Emperor can't stop it. When the flesh of the mouth flies, when the Fifth-Order Emperor returns, he must kill them. How sad. It would be great if he could control the Temple of Qi in the ancient times. Even if these emperors were able to make him a messenger in the Temple of Qishan, he would not suppress them all, and go to the present situation. Since then, the ancient times have not been there. And Desiyu has also entered the era of Ion Shelter, and his Zhen Wuyang has also become a powerhouse on the Ion side. And the entire universe is also changing at this moment. The ancient melee has long since disappeared, and the age of ease where countless chaos eras have been deposited is also shattered at this moment. Now the age of the gods will begin. A looming aurora shot out from the temple of Qixin, and an ancient call spread throughout the universe. The creatures in every corner are aware of the call at this moment. It was the brilliance of ancient times, and a huge picture appeared in the minds of these creatures. At this moment, all the evangelists in the universe have taken a step, stepping into the world of the gods. In the temple of Qixin, to outsiders, the Qixin temple is divided into internal and external halls, but it is not. The outer hall of the Qixin was born automatically from the origin of the Qixin temple, after the fall of the Qixin, and it contains the ways of the Qixin and the three gods. Today's Qixin temple is already a universe. Not only does it contain the origin of the universe, but it can also continuously create subsidiary worlds. These subsidiary worlds are the outer temples. These outer halls are connected with the inner halls, and the inner halls can be regarded as the true temples of the gods, but the inner halls are only the tip of the iceberg of the temples, and the real core is the main hall of origin. The origin of the universe is incomparably magnificent. It carries the movement of the entire universe. As for the practitioner, it is nothing more than an additional product. Its power is beyond the imagination of the practitioner. This is why the Lord of the universe is so pitiful in the long river of time and space. Temple of Origin. The core of the Temple of Qixin. An old man with a looming figure is floating in the vortex of origin, holding an ancient book in one hand and behind the other. Unexpectedly, I actually fell asleep for so long. The ancient times are like last night. The illusory old man sighed while flipping through the ancient books. He is the true spirit of the Qixin temple, and at the same time a powerful existence that controls the origin of the entire Qixin temple. His strength is comparable to the Lord of the universe. This is also the reason why the Qixin temple is drifting in several long rivers of time and space, and the lords of the universe are not conquered. Master True Spirit, are you really ready to start the highest trial in the primitive universe? This seems to be different from the Master's arrangement back then. The spirit guard stood respectfully and bowed his head. He was indeed puzzled, but he was just a spirit guard, and at most he would come out to ask. The real treasurer of the entire temple of the gods is still the real spirit. Hearing his doubts, Zhenling said patiently, Aki, you don't understand that. The master did not arrange it like that back then. But the master also told me that letting things go is more than everything. Let's go with the flow. What do you mean? Achi the spirit guard was a little puzzled. Life is like a play, idiot. Zhenling cursed with a smile. Chapter 51-57. Wan Dao Sword Sovereign as the true spirit of the Qixin temple. He also controls the power of the source. His wisdom surpasses the practitioner. Even if he sleeps for so long, he is still like life, with joys and sorrows, laughs and sorrow. If the spirit watcher was thoughtful, he was originally the servant of the old master. After the of Qi fell, he became a spirit watcher, guarding the tomb of the of Qi for many years. And there were 8 other people who existed like him. By the way, after those immortal capitals have been included in the attached world, they are temporarily prohibited from fighting. The creatures of this primitive universe are far from enough to initiate the highest trial, Zhenling said calmly, and the number of immortals from the primitive universe was not enough. Satisfaction. If these emperors know this, I am afraid they will be crazy instantly. The fairy of the entire primitive universe. Just say that the fairy tales in a big division can be counted in hundreds of millions. How much does the entire primitive universe cost? Yes, but the origins of other universes are too strong to be plundered. The guardian was a little cautious. After all, he was just a guardian. This time he was transferred out by Master Origin True Spirit, and only then began to accept the management of some of the temples of the gods. He hadn't figured out many things now, and suddenly let him go to other universes to plunder the immortals. and he didn't know what to do. The fairy cultivating in the original universe is okay. He can use the phantom of the gods transformed by the source to directly move all the fairy cultivating to the affiliated world of the temple of the gods. But if he wants to go to the fairy cultivating in other universes, it will be troublesome. The origin of the primitive universe has been swallowed by the taboo demon lord. The origin is very weak. The universe origin of the temple of forbidding can suppress the opponent at will. Coupled with the acquiescence of the supreme rules, he can easily summon all the gods into the attached world. But others, the origin of the universe is very complete, and the supreme rule has no emotion at all. Your original universe is going to be destroyed, and everything I should help. As for inserting my hand into other universes, don't even think about it. Anything can be changed. Since you can't take them all away, then take away those Tianjiao, who have realized the third stage Tao. Isn't that 90% less? The universe that is too far away will plunder the second stage Tao. The evolving immortal that plunders the ultimate way no matter how far away. There is also the evolving immortal of that ultimate way in the universe. This should be very simple. As long as these people are taken away, the burden on you shouldn't be too big. Junling looked at the spirit guard. It's easy, but the adults are clever. Although the spirit guard is not good at it, he can still shoot. Haha, if you can do it then go ahead. I have to think about how to deal with those dying immortals and monarchs. Junling smiled, and continued to look at the ancient book in his hand. The guardian immediately bowed and retired, and left the Yuanyuan hall. In the vast source, only true spirit remained. He turned the book and frowned. This universe is really interesting. It's probably because of the taboo demon lord that so many Tianjios were born at the same time. Junling muttered to himself. Well, not bad. This list is finally made. Junling frowned, and was quite satisfied with the list he made, and then directly reprinted all the contents of that ancient book on a huge stone monument. The stone steel exudes an ancient atmosphere. The surface of the steel is very smooth. Don't look at it as a stone steel. Its value is no less than a supreme eternal treasure. You must know that the only eternal treasure in the primitive universe, the Ion Tower. It is a low grade. This is also the famous protection of Emperor Zhutian. When he left, his apprentice and old subordinates were not worried. So he left an eternal treasure that could help him to his apprentice. In the long river of time and space, many fifth-order emperors did not have eternal treasures. When the Emperor Zhutian was still a fourth-order emperor, he first entered the long river of time and space, and received the remains of an ancient civilization. He not only obtained 3 eternal treasures, Jibao also inherited the true biography of that existence, and directly became the fifth-order emperor, and was still an extremely powerful existence among the fifth-order emperors. This was the only way to generously leave the Ion Tower to the apprentice. It also caused quite a stir that year. However, this kind of thing would not arouse the attention of the God Temple at all. Even if the treasure of the universe was born in the original universe, I am afraid that the true spirit would not blink. The ancient and powerful, the treasures of the universe are ashes-eating existences in the Qishan Temple, not to mention the eternal treasures. That is to say, some special gadgets will be used by the true spirits. As for the other treasures, they are all left to the inheritors. As for the gifts Lu Crow and others received, it was nothing more than a self-operating program within the Temple of Qishan, and the true spirit had not seen them directly. Junling was very satisfied with the stone tablet at this time. Although it was only the best eternal treasure, he still carefully re-engraved the name engraved on the book on the stone tablet. Wow! Junling waved his hand, and the names of countless people appeared on the stone tablet. You have to give it a resounding name. The real spirit began to struggle. He will be satisfied with everything. This is also the reason for the delay in opening up the gods. Now the outside world is about to fight. He is still here to name a list. If this is to let the outside emperor know, I'm afraid I will scold my mother angrily. Today's outside world has indeed reached the point of tension. What? All the fairy gods have disappeared? The Taoist temple of the Tongtian Buddha is the closest to this place, even closer than the Great Siyu. Yu reading at www. Akanshu, calm. He has just received a letter from his disciple, and all the immortals of the 3,000 great worlds have disappeared. If it were put in normal, it would be fine even after death, but when the temple of Chishan opened, all the fairy gods disappeared silently. This must be someone who did it against him. Leader, many of my disciples have sent letters to me, it is true. Tongtian Buddha said with some excitement. He understood the meaning of Tongtian. It was nothing more than suspicion that some emperors had used the 3 indiscriminate methods, and immediately jumped out of the hall. Wind and rain explain it. Chishui Walker looked angry. Tong Tian just took refuge in him. This kind of thing happened. There must be someone secretly revenge, otherwise, who would be bored to kill all the immortals in the 3,000 worlds. Explanation? Is there anything I want to explain to you? Fenyu Demon Lord was a little puzzled. She didn't understand what other conspiracy and tricks this Scarlet Water Walker had done. Just as the two were at war, Zhen Wuiyang also received a letter from Yu Chang, and the Yinxian in the Daisai domain disappeared. Zhen Wuyangdang even reported this matter to the Wind and Rain Demon Lord. At this time, everyone exploded and received a letter from Home World one after another, and all Yinxian disappeared. This must be done by Chishan Temple. Chishui Walker almost laughed. This is simply a big deal. All the fairy cultivators in the entire universe have disappeared. Let alone whether these fairy cultivators are still alive. Just to say that this method is simply a masterpiece, and no emperor can do it. As for whether he died or not, Chishui really didn't care. An ancient breath suddenly rose. The breath was emitted from the temple of Chishan, but it appeared in the void of the entire universe. A huge stone monument descended from the void, and people in the entire universe could see it. Universal Gods and Demons List. Chapter 51-58. Wan Dao Sword Sovereign Primitive Universe. Countless practitioners looked up at the starry sky, and the huge stone stele was like 2 stars of yin and yang, which could be seen by practitioners anywhere. At the same time, those Yinxian who stepped into the subordinate world of the Chishan Temple also saw that list. The universe of gods and demons is divided into heaven, earth, and man. Tianbang corresponds to the emperor and strong. The earth list corresponds to Dianxian, and the human list naturally corresponds to those Yinxian. However, the current immortal Yen has been taken into the subordinate world of the Temple of Chishan. As for immortal Dian has already escaped from the shackles of the world, the Temple of the Chishan cannot do a big surprise. But with such a great opportunity, even if you don't take it, these Dian immortals will also come by themselves. As for the emperor, let alone, they are all beyond the universe. No one can control them, but they are also more eager for the Temple of the Gods. The ranking of the 3 lists, from top to bottom. There are tens of thousands of strong emperors on the Tianban. This list is arranged according to the strong in the original universe. If there are emperors from other universes, they will also be accurately judged by the gods and demons, and enter the list. This is the ultimate eternal treasure. Not only has unlimited power, but also can accurately calculate the strength of the emperor. Look, there is the name of the ancestor on the sky list. The Big Dream girl standing behind the Big Dream ancestor shouted in surprise. This shout made everyone's eyes catch up. Dream Dao ancestor, the 97th in the sky ranking. The 4th tier top comes from the middle world Big Dream world. In addition to the name, there is a series of introductions below, and even the world of strength and Taoism are clearly marked. Another place in the Great Wilderness, Jian Wushuang and the others also discovered this list, but they didn't have time to read it. If the emperor of the world of Tongtian Buddhism does not come again, they will all fall here today. Brother Juyu, when will the assisting emperor arrive? We really can't stand it. The Jinghong Tianjiao of Dongyan realm, panting heavily. They have been fighting with those ghosts for a day. The energy in the body has been exhausted. If it hadn't been for this time because of the gods, they had replaced all their belongings with pill. They would have all fallen. Now that the medicine is finished, the reinforcements will not come, and they can only fall here today. In addition to dealing with these ghosts, some of them have to protect the 2 oil bottles Jian Wushuang and Hui Qing. Luo Shui, you come back to me. You don't have to protect those two wastes. Hurry up and take my place. I can't hold on to it anymore. Ji didn't pay attention to him at all. He could only give up Hui Qing and Jian Wushuang. Now it's a matter of life and death. Even if the emperor will blame him in the future, he can still defend himself. After all, the road is difficult to walk, and he has achieved the 9th revolution consummation Dian Immortal. It is not easy to practice all the way, and he can't die for others just because of a word from the emperor. If he knew that Emperor Dongyan had fallen, he didn't know whether it would be happy or sad. The situation on Luoshui's side is also not very good. Although the powerful ghosts are all those Dian Immortals who have completed the 9th rank, but she still has to deal with 2 9th rank ghosts here. Although she is only a 4th rank road, can deal with these 2 9th rank ghosts without any consciousness, they can still barely deal with it. But at this time it was also very difficult for her to get away. The things that the emperor explained were naturally greater than the Tianjiao of the East Yen world. How can you give up what the emperor explained? Luoshui's voice was soft, but with a strong voice, he dealt with the 2 ghosts wholeheartedly after speaking, and ignored the Tianjiao. Jian Wushuang hid behind Luoshui, but his eyes were fixed on the list of cosmic gods and demons, and Hui Qing did the same. The 2 of them had planned to help, but they happened to see the list of gods and demons, and they were stunned on the spot for a while. This sudden appearance of the stone tablet made everyone stunned for a moment, not knowing what happened. But these people were desperately looking at it at this time, and they fell into the fight again. Jian Wushuang and Hui Qing have their eyes fixed on the list of universe gods and demons. I don't know whether it was because of their own induction, or the universal gods and demons list, that helped them lock their rankings, which caused them to see their names at first sight. Hui Qing, Rank 6 Dian Immortal 160 million, from the Higher World, the world of Tongtian Buddhism. Higher World? It seems that before not knowing it, the Tongtian Buddha has restored the origin of the heavens. Hui Qing's eyes narrowed. This list can reveal the true strength of many people. For example, Tongtian Buddha is now not the ancestor of Taoism, but the ruler. He himself is ranked 160 million. This ranking is already very high in the entire universe, especially when he is only rank 6 Dian Immortal. Most of the ranks ahead of him are rank 9 Consummation, only a few count to 9 turns Dian Immortal. Jian Wushuang's ranking here is about the same as Hui Qing's, but he is only ranked 3. At the same time, many powerhouses have paid attention to Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang, ranked 166,784,099, the 3rd realm of Dian Immortal, from the Middle World Big Division domain. Rank 3 Dian Immortal can actually be ranked at the position of 160 million, www.novel.com. This makes many Dian Immortals start to wonder if the list is wrong. We must know that almost all of the top 500 million Dian Immortals are rank 9. Only a few of them are rank 6 Dian Immortals. Which one of these is not shocking Tianjiao? Especially rank 6 Dian Immortals, that can be ranked in the top 200 million, they are all the peerless Tianjiao of the ultimate way. But a tier 3 Dian Immortal actually ranked 160 million, which made everyone couldn't believe it. The names on the list are endless, but only the top 1 trillion shows the rankings. In the top 1 trillion, there are no more than 10% of Dian Immortals at the level 3, and most of them are at the 6th level. One can imagine how exaggerated Jian Wushuang's ranking is. Jian Wushuang himself was not surprised by the rankings. He knew very well that his strength was much stronger than rank 9 Dian Immortal, and much weaker than rank 9 Perfection. Look up and keep seeing the top. The information of hundreds of millions of people all appeared in their minds. Chapter 51-59. Wan Dao Sword Sovereign. The advent of the cosmic gods and demons list first made everyone wonder, and then shocked. What is puzzled is why such a list suddenly appeared, and then shocked by the power of this ranking. Such a large handwriting, plus all the fairy tales disappeared together. This made the remaining Dian celestial guesses. It's okay for those with a background, knowing that the Temple of Qishan was born, And linking these two things together, the lone travelers without a background have entered some dangerous places, or some remote areas one after another, taking the opportunity to retreat in an attempt to escape the dispute. But they don't know that the coming of the list this time is the fairest assessment for practitioners in the entire universe. Even those with weak strength can get a lot of treasures from the Temple of Fortune. It's like Yanxian, who has now stepped into the affiliated world of the Qixin Temple. As soon as they entered the subordinate world of the Qixin Temple, they began to realize the epiphany, which made the whole universe evolve into an epiphany. This was just a means by the true spirits to prevent them from fighting with each other. Such a large handwriting is unprecedented. The 97th subsidiary world, a ring-shaped world, is filled with countless starry sky continents, on which not only the looted immortals, but also some powerful wild beasts born in the world. However, these desolate beasts or native cultivators seem to be unable to detect the immortals who have been moved in, still living their own leisurely lives. Soon, a voice spread throughout the universe. The Temple of Qixin officially opened. This magnificent voice appeared in everyone's heart. Juyu and the others also felt the call in the battle in the great desolate void. But now they are still struggling on the verge of life and death, and they don't even care about it. On Juyu's side, one person alone fought against hundreds of ghosts of the ninth rank consummation Dian immortal level, and had reached the state where the oil was exhausted and the lamp was dry. Damn it! Why isn't the Emperor coming? Juyu, who has always been calm, couldn't help cursing. There are too many ghosts. Even if he flips over his hands, he can kill a ghost of the ninth rank perfect Dian immortal level. Can't hold up a large number. Boom! A 9-rank Yanxian could no longer hold it anymore. He could only burn his own avenue and perform the strongest blow. Then his entire body began to collapse, and finally disappeared into the void. Do not. There are 1 and 2. The remaining Dian immortals burned their own origins one after another. They couldn't escape and couldn't kill them. They could only choose to burn the origin road and make the last contribution to others. Jian Wushuang also recovered from the roar. After turning his head and looking at Hui Qing, he quickly said, "Don't look, they can't stand it anymore." After hearing the shout, Hui Qing's eyes suddenly became sober for a few minutes, and a void crack just appeared behind him. A ghost with an illusory body was desperately breaking free from the devouring in the crack. "Be careful," Luo Shui on the side exclaimed, wanting to withdraw back to help. This panic instantly caused the ghost to seize the opportunity and pounce directly on Luo Shui's neck. Song! Wow! A beautiful sword energy, and its strange angle slashed towards Luo Shui's chest. The sharpness of the sword aura made people shudder. The power of this sword was stronger and more stable than when it was against Xiang Bingyan. Puff! The 3 ranked 9 Dian immortal level ghosts that had been entangled in Luo Shui directly turned into a wisp of black smoke, and then disappeared completely. Luo Shui was a little stunned where she stood. When Jian Wushuang shot her hand, she clearly saw only a random sword, and did not feel any sword containing the power of Tao at all. But when the sword energy passed by her, she but felt a terrifying breath. She can be sure that if that sword cut her, it would definitely fall. How could he be so strong? Luo Shui was puzzled, but there was no time to ask her at this time. Hui Qing, you stay here to protect Luo Shui Dao friends, and I will help others. After Jian Wushuang finished speaking, he smiled slightly when he passed Luo Shui. Good fellow, be careful, Hui Qing exhorted, and then suddenly turned her head. A long brown stick directly penetrated the ghost that wanted to crawl out of the void. Jian Wushuang's figure was tall, and after looking around, he launched the rescue. Ha! 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 The number of swords cleaved out, and instantly annihilated a number of monsters of the rank 9 Dian immortal level. Strange, these ghosts are obviously not conscious. Why are they so afraid of their minds? Although he hadn't deliberately instilled mental strength with the number of swords he had just shot at random, he had already realized the swordsmanship of the heart sword world, and a random strike contained a little mental strength. Puff! Dozens of ghosts collapsed one after another, alleviating the pressure on the local battlefield in an instant. Regardless of whether it is the head of the monk in the world of Tongtian Buddhism, or other practitioners. They all look incredible. Rank 3 Dian Immortal, count the swords at will, and directly wipe out the 19th ranked Dian Immortal ghosts. This strength is too great. Especially the former Tianjiao of the East Yin realm even dropped his chin. At this time, he was in the void, and he didn't know what to do without his opponent. Leave it to me here, and you can help others. Jian Wushuang's eyes were sharp, and these swords still didn't really use their minds. If you use the heart sword world of the 5th layer of the ultimate way, is afraid. 9-turn consummation Dian immortal level ghosts can be killed. Jian Wushuang's words sounded, and everyone was relieved, and after nodding quickly, they rushed towards the cracks in several other battles. The Tianjiao of Dongyan realm didn't understand now. He clearly felt Jian Wushuang's way is very weak. Why is his strength so strong? Others have the same idea, but now there is no time to discuss this. Isn't he the 3rd ranked Dian immortal? How could he be so strong? It should be hidden strength. His swordsmanship is very special. He is very restrained from these ghosts. Please don't think too much. First go to help other people, and try to drag the emperor to help. Great. Yes. The crowd scattered around, and went to help other practitioners. These people had just evacuated from this area, and a large group of ghosts swept in again. And this time there was also a ghost of the 9th rank consummation Dian immortal level. Its whole body exudes a gloomy pale golden light, and its illusory and ethereal body contains the imperfect avenue of the emperor, and its empty eyes are like black holes. Because these ghosts contain the imperfect avenues of the emperor, they can also use some of the tricks learned by the emperor before his death. Of course, because they are incomplete avenues, the moves they perform are naturally not as powerful as the emperor, but they still surprise Jian Wushuang. Fortunately, the ghosts of the ranks 9 and 9 Dian immortal level gave him no less sense than the dead Xiang Bingyan. But dealing with these ghosts and monsters now is much easier than dealing with Xiang Bingyan. No matter how weak Xiang Bingyan is, it is estimated that he can rank in the top 100 million among the Dian immortals in the entire universe. This 9-turn complete Dian immortal ghost can only be comparable to Xiang Bingyan in terms of strength. Chapter 5160. Wan Dao Sword Sovereign. Fortunately, speed and defense are far behind. Jian Wushuang's long sword wandered, first cleaned up those weak ghosts, and then went to deal with the 9-rank consummation Dian immortal level ghost. No matter how young ants are, they are afraid of too many ants. Jian Wushuang still understands this. He is not afraid of fighting, nor is he afraid of the trials of life and death. Although the quality of the ghosts that appeared after the emperor's fall is much stronger than the army of corpses, they are much weaker in number, and these ghosts will not exist for long. As the Dahuang Tiandao gradually becomes stronger, these ghosts will be swallowed into the source. These ghosts and monsters are all formed by the origin avenue of the emperors, and they are a great supplement to the origin of the world. These people have killed so many, and now they are all about to fall. In the end, the most profitable is the origin of the great wilderness. Jian Wushuang suddenly had a flash of inspiration. Dawang's heavenly origin has just formed, and he can't personally come to suppress these ghosts. Wouldn't he be able to swallow all the ghosts in the universe if he casts a thought on the universe? Jian Wusai's leaked joy. If it were true, his ultimate source had absorbed so many incomplete emperor avenues. It would definitely strengthen a lot, and even hope to break through. Now his mental strength has become stronger again, and his soul realm has already reached the rank 6 level. This ordinary small realm can't hinder him at all. If it hadn't been for fear of unstable foundation, he would have broken through to rank 6 Dian Immortal in one fell swoop in the starry sky. This is also the reason why Hui Qing was able to step into the 9th revolution in one step, and finally fell to the 6th revolution. 6 turns is a slope, and 9 turns is the vertical height, which is also the limit of evolving immortals. Able to advance to the Dian Immortal, even if he has been in seclusion, he can still become a rank 6 Dian Immortal by virtue of his understanding of the Tao. But the 9th rank Dian Immortal has a certain resistance, and requires opportunity and battle. As for the 9th turn consummation Dian Immortal, This is a hurdle before Hadao consummation. If you can't even reach the 9th turn consummation, it is a death to go to Hadao. Consummation can lead to harmony, but most of the 9th turn consummation is just to cultivate one's own origin road to consummation. It is too difficult to cultivate the body, soul, and state of mind to consummation. Able to perfect these practices, it may not be able to succeed in harmony. Therefore, most of the 9th rank consummation Dayan immortals are looking for an opportunity to take advantage of the situation and start to unite, trying to use the air to wash themselves. But in the end, countless Dayan immortals have fallen on this step. The 9th turn of the 5-rank Yuanyuan Avenue is the easiest way to achieve Great Yin Immortal, but the simplest way is only 1 in 10,000 chance. If it is so easy to become an emperor, there will not be so few emperors on the list of universe gods and demons. The current primitive universe can be considered to have reached the maturity stage. It is the time when the strongest are the most, and various avenues have already been included. Anyone who is a bit ambitious would not choose the 5-rank origin avenue as his own life avenue. The evangelists who feel that they have average savvy and self-knowledge will choose the 4th stage Tao, and in the future will be able to become the elite of one force. The origin of the 3rd stage is the backbone of a party's power and the high level in the future. The 2nd rank origin road is rather vague. There are ordinary 2nd rank origins, and some are relatively special. For example, the Emperor Donglin was also an emperor who achieved the 2nd rank road. After he took control of the higher world and became the ruler, his strength was still regarded as an ordinary rank among the 4th order emperors. Zhen Wuyang's Zhen Wu Dao was also the 2nd rank origin Dao, but he only mastered the middle world and had tier 4 top strength. In the 2nd grade Benyuan Avenue, the distance between ordinary and special avenues sometimes differs, and can even be separated by hundreds of thousands of miles. Some emperors on the 2nd stage avenue are still at the top of the 3rd stage, and some emperors on the 2nd stage avenue can become the 5th stage. This is the gap. When there is a gap, it is naturally difficult. Don't look at so many Dayan immortals with the 9 ranks of consummation on the list of gods and demons, but there may be only a few who can become emperors in the end. The Dayan immortal with the 9th rank consummation is already very difficult to fall in the primitive universe, and most of them died on Hadao. Jian Wushuang has also learned through the cipher text that he himself is the ultimate way, and the difficulty of combining Dao is even greater. Now that the Ji Dao is added, the pressure of combining Dao instantly suffocates him. Fortunately, the mental strength has reached the 4th level, and the mood is stronger than the average emperor. Don't smooth the haze of just a moment. He Dao. Jian Wushuang shook his head. He is still far away from He Dao. If you don't count the time in the starry sky, it hasn't been a few days since he broke through from Yinxian to Dianxian, and now he considers Kodao. It's too early. From the breakthrough to the present, he hasn't even had time to stabilize his realm. He is either recovering his divine body or fighting. Now let's first practice with the ghost of the 9th rank perfect Dayan immortal level in front of you. Maybe, just as he thought he would really send it out by then. This time he was almost beaten to death by Xiang Bingyin, and even all the treasures on his body were destroyed, even the divine sword in his hand. Now it's in dilapidated condition. Those who don't know thought that the Excalibur was just like this. Although the sword body was severely damaged, fortunately, the roots of Kendo were still there. The ghost's fangs slashed along the divine sword, and an extremely uncomfortable sound came from the ghost's mouth. Jian Wushuang's figure hurried back, holding the long sword upside down, and barely stabilizing his figure. Heart Sword World. The 5th level of Ultimate Kendo is also Jian Wushuang's most satisfying sword so far. This sword once caused the 9th rank Dayan immortal Gu Yuan to kneel and worship, and also made Xiang Bingyin, who had completed the 9 ranks consummation, tremble. Wow! The huge world of swords descended from the void, and countless swordsmanships containing mental strength pounced on the ghost like a hungry wolf. Chi-chi. Countless sword shadows pass through the ghost's illusory body, and every time it passes, the ghost's body is exposed to black mist. This is the horror of the heart, As long as it is contaminated, it can burn its soul. These ghosts were originally soul bodies, and Jian Wushuang understood why these ghosts were so scared of their minds. If there is no ghost in the heart, there will be no ghost in this world. The scope of the world of swords began to expand, directly including everyone. How is this going? Jiyu turned around and looked to the rear. Jian Wushuang participated in the battle. He did not pay attention. After all, there were only a few weak ghosts in the rear. He brought dozens of 9-turn consummation Dian immortals at the forefront. Most of the ghosts here are 9-point consummation, and even those with 9-turn consummation are common. The moment the projection of the entire heart sword world descended, the ghosts suddenly took a step back. They have no consciousness, but the fear of mental power is inherent. This is set by the supreme rule, let alone they are unaware, as long as the soul is afraid of mental power. Chapter 5161. Wan Dao Sword Sovereign. There was no fear in the ghost's hollow eyes. Although they were born with fear, they rushed into the world of swords. Brother Juyu, what's going on? The few people who didn't know the situation of the 9th rank consummation Dian Immortal thought it was Juyu and asked. It's him. Juyu looked at Jian Wushuang behind, his eyes condensed. Numerous sword auras surrounded the heart sword world, and Juyu grabbed it casually, and a strand of sword intent was pinched in his hand. The white sword intent is very gentle in Juyu's hands, like a swimming fish. Mental cultivator, the hiding is deep enough. Now we are relaxed. Juyu released the sword intent in his hand, raised his head to look at Jian Wushuang and nodded. Mind strength? The powerhouses in other worlds still have some doubts. Unexpectedly, there are still people under the Emperor who can cultivate their minds to such a level. Good. The heads of the monks of the immeasurable world put their hands together, and in the immeasurable world, second only to the immeasurable Buddha, is the Lord of the Heart Buddha. The Lord of the Heart Buddha is very powerful, and his methods are weird, and he has left several secret methods of mental energy practice on Mount Wuliang. But few Dian immortals can cultivate their mind strength, let alone practice the secret method of mind strength. In their opinion, it is impossible for Dian immortal to cultivate mental energy. They didn't know that on Wuliang Mountain, a 3rd-ranked Dian immortal had touched the threshold of heart strength, but it was a pity that he fell into the wilderness. The white pure monk once inadvertently received an inheritance from the mind and Buddha. The immeasurable Buddha gave him a piece of Bodhicitta in the face of the mind and Buddha. It is often accompanied by the body to improve the state of mind, and has a great influence on the cultivation of the mind. Help. It's a pity that this pure white monk finally fell. Before he died, he gave Jian Wushuang the greatest opportunity in his life, the Bodhi Heart Tree. At that time, Jian Wushuang had an epiphany in the battle, coupled with the effect of the Bodhi Heart Tree, directly led him out of his body and into the starry sky. After Jian Wushuang knew all this, he was also very grateful to the white monk head, but he sighed that the man was dead and his body was incomplete. From Huiqing, he learned the name of the white and pure Sangha. If he had the opportunity, he would go to the immeasurable world to see the white and pure Sangha's Dhamma. Law name. Wan Mia. Huiqing protected fairy Luo Shui behind him, turned to look at Jian Wushuang in the air, and muttered in a low voice. Uncle Master, if you are still alive, there is hope that you will cultivate your strength in the future. Fairy Luo Shui, who was standing behind him, also looked up at the void. Wushuang Taoist is so powerful. Even you, the little monk, is also hidden, because I have desperately protected you for so long. Luo Shui akimbo his hips, glanced at Huiqing's head, and wanted to go up. There was an impulse, but she endured it in the end. Shan. Huiqing folded her hands and lowered her head. Void. Jian Wushuang raised one hand, and held the void. The endless sword intent filled the void, and the world of heart sword was several times stronger than the last time. Exit. As the sword intent rose, the burst of Jian Run turned into a huge cage, trapping the ghost that had just rushed into the heart sword world. There are millions of these ghosts. Among them, there are hundreds of ghosts of the 9th rank perfect Dian immortal level. With so many ghosts, the avenues contained in their bodies add up to the origin of a small world. After all, the fall of more than a dozen emperors, coupled with the origins of 2 fourth-order emperors, is more than normal in a small world. Jia. Millions of ghosts wailed in bursts, and their illusory body was completely burned by the heart power in their sword intent. Although they were unconscious, the pain in the depths of their souls still made them miserable. Like the weaker, 3rd rank and 6th rank Dian immortal level ghosts, they were directly killed by sword aura. Those who were able to resist sword aura were all 9th rank or 9th ranked perfect Dian immortal level ghosts. Although he resisted the sword aura, it was more painful than those ghosts that were directly obliterated. It's okay to be beheaded directly, at least it's a pleasure. They are able to resist the sword chi, but they have to be tortured by their heart power all the time, and it is simply painful. Some powerful ghosts began to struggle, go mad, and madly pounce on Jian Wushuang. Be careful, their strength hasn't been weakened much. Jiyu shook his figure, but was stopped by Jian Wushuang. I have a treasure to deal with these ghosts. You go first, I will come to the back of the palace. Jian Wushuang said sincerely. In fact, he is indeed very sincere. As long as these people leave first, he can not only bring these ghosts into the origin of the universe in an open manner, but also get rid of these people, and take the opportunity to quickly slip away. As for the Temple of Qixin, he really did not want to fight in the past. Although I learned from Juyu that there were secrets in the Temple of Qixin that became the pinnacle of existence, these were too far away from them. A large group of emperors kept staring at him, and it was good for him to be a great Yinxian, and it would be a cannon fodder if he went. Therefore, Jian Wushuang decided to get rid of these people right now. Now he has the power of Dianxian, he can also travel the entire universe, taking advantage of the whole opportunity to escape to other big worlds. There are other treasures? Ji didn't believe it. But at this time they stay here. Once those ghosts break through the Heart Sword world, they have to be trapped here. It's better to listen to Jian Wushuang, take the opportunity to feel fleeing, and believe him once. At this time, most of the people had the same thoughts as Jian Wushuang, and they all wanted to leave the great wilderness as soon as possible. But their strength was not enough. They would encounter ghosts halfway through, and would not be able to survive without so many powerhouses. Now I can only follow Jiyu temporarily. Hurry up. The world of swords can't stop it for long. My treasure can only kill this batch of ghosts. Once the next batch of ghosts emerge from the void, I can't escape anyone. Anxiously, he was quite a rugged monk when he tried to persuade him to escape. Guiking's figure was mixed in the crowd. He kept staring at Jian Wushuang, and he also understood Jian Wushuang's thoughts. Now he is no longer the little novice monk, and everything in the world is like a mirror to him. Brother Juyu, listen to him. If we don't leave, we will die more people. Guiqing took a step and appeared beside Juyu. Then he glanced at Jian Wushuang again, and the two of them met each other's eyes and instantly understood what they were thinking. Since you insist on doing this, then we will take the first step and remember to flee in the direction where we left if we lose. Maybe the emperors are already here. Before Juyu left, he did not forget to comfort. Jian Wushuang did leak a bit of bitter smile. Their location was very close to the Temple of Qixin. If the emperor really came to rescue them, I am afraid he would have come long ago. Even the emperor can't get out of his body. One can imagine how dangerous that direction is. Chapter 5162. Wan Dao Sword Sovereign. When Jian Wushuang and Huiqing flee desperately, they did escape very far. Even if Jian Wushuang flew with full strength or kept teleporting, it would take a day to reach the Temple of Qixin. But the emperor is different. If the emperor really wants to rescue them, I am afraid that a teleport will be able to come. And when they were fighting with ghosts, he could also feel a terrifying aura emanating from the direction of the Qixin temple. The existence that burst out of this breath has either already fallen, or an unprecedented battle has taken place. Such a powerful existence can be felt at such a distance. If you get closer, I'm afraid it will be shattered by the aura fluctuations on the spot. Jian Wushuang didn't know that this was still the situation where Qishui Walker and Fingyu Demon were suppressed. If Daogong were not suppressed, the waves of air would spread, enough to cause their divine bodies to be injured. Looking at the disappearing figure of everyone, Jian Wushuang's eyes leaked sharp. At this moment, he no longer concealed his strength. The world of swords was even bigger and stronger than before, and the sword forbearance turned into sword intent, reaping those weak ghosts at will. Comparable to the origin of a small world, Jian Wushuang couldn't help licking his lips. If he could really absorb the Emperor Origin Avenue contained in the bodies of these ghosts, his strength might immediately skyrocket hundreds of times. It is stronger than practicing hundreds of millions of years in the starry sky. Call. Jian Wushuang took a deep breath. Success or failure once again. If he can't swallow it, he has the ability to escape. Otherwise he can swallow these origins. He won't leave the great wasteland so quickly. This is simply his treasure. One thought of the universe. A bubble is the size of a pinhole, expanding from Jian Wushuang's mind. Boom! A mighty power erupted from his body, and the bubbles continued to expand, rushing out of his mind, only to instantly encompass the world of swords in the void. Jian Wushuang was a little surprised. When his thought power just ascended, he was extremely excited, and he seemed to be very interested in those ghosts. The bubbles under the control of the power of thought continued to expand and gradually spread to the entire void. 100,000 miles. 300,000 miles, 800,000 miles, millions of miles. It has exceeded the scale of his first display, and the origin of the universe is like a baby waking up at this time, constantly hovering around the bubble, and the scope of the universe is still expanding. Boom! 2 million miles away, stars suddenly appeared in the originally dying universe. Although these stars were illusory, they contained Jian Wushuang's extreme way. 3 million miles. The bubble is still expanding, and it still doesn't mean to stop. This range surpassed some mortal world continents, and if it expanded further, Jian Wushuang's thought power was somewhat unbearable. Boom! At 5 million miles, the bubble stopped, and the origin of Yin universe also returned to Jian Wushuang's body. Call. I can actually exclude the Tao of heaven in the great wilderness. Jian Wushuang was shocked. He actually excluded a middle world avenue. Although the other party was just born, it was a middle world avenue after all, so he was blocked. It's incredible, Jian Wushuang exclaimed. If the scope of the universe exceeds the great wilderness itself, wouldn't he be able to swallow the entire great wilderness? As soon as this idea appeared in his mind, a warning from the supreme rule appeared in his mind. Obviously this would not work. The Dahuang heavenly Tao belonged to the primitive universe, and he couldn't swallow it no matter how strong it was. Only to swallow those origins stored in the world. But this origin, either in the secret realm of the universe, or in the cave world of some superpower, is not his turn at all. This time there was also a battle between emperors and monarchs, so he could have the opportunity to fish in troubled waters, and take the opportunity to devour the origin of these monarchs. Although these also belong to the origin of the primitive universe. But this is a small advantage. The origin of the primitive universe is simply insignificant. Jian Wushuang looked at the sky. At the top of the universe. If my universe was comparable to the original universe that day, I am afraid it would be the peak of the universe that the emperors dream of. If he wants to think that the universe is comparable to the original universe, he will probably have to cultivate to the 8th level of the ultimate sword, and he will have to be in harmony with the 7th level of the ultimate sword practice. I am afraid that he will have to be in harmony when he cultivates to the 6th floor. Hadao. A yoke that crossed the peak of life. How much Jinghong Tianjiao was trapped in this step. He had no certainty to join the road. Let's accept all the benefits now. Jian Wushuang mobilized his strength within 5 million miles, and his strength once again crossed several thresholds, and his current strength was about 9 times complete. He didn't notice that his name on the list of universe gods and demons kept beating. However, many Dayan immortals from the outside have noticed that Jian Wushuang's ranking is beating, especially the ghosts and monsters who have escaped. Brother Juyu, You are ranked in the top 500 in the universe. Many Dayan immortals exclaimed at Juyu's strength. The Tongtian Buddhist realm recognized that the Jinghong Tianjiao, who was second only to Juyu, could only be ranked in the top 100,000. The distance between this gap was too exaggerated. I am afraid that if he really started his hands, he could not hold Juyu's breath. Juyu also relaxed at this time, looking at the world-shattering list of cosmic gods and demons. He doesn't have much interest in rankings. The ones that rank ahead of him are almost the ultimate Tao, and he is not satisfied with the current Tao. He is still merging into more Taos. The second-class Tao alone comprehending a few, he walked in the unity of 10,000 ways, and it is still far away. Once all the ways are united, the power of other ways is no less powerful than any ultimate way. Look, it's Brother Wushuang, his ranking is changing. Everyone looked at the situation, and those present were all powerhouses of the Dayan immortal level, and the hundreds of millions of rankings were all earning money at a glance. 150 million. It is estimated that it is a temporary breakthrough. He also said that there is a special treasure. It is estimated that he could break through with that treasure, but he can surpass tens of millions of people at a time. Chapter 5163. Wan Dao Sword Sovereign. All the ways are first class, and the more powerful they are, the ultimate way can reach the level of the ultimate way. Little novice Huiqing did not pay attention to their surprise, but looked at the top list. He is looking for acquaintances in his memory. Since stepping into the Tao, a series of memories have emerged in his mind, and these memories have taught him a lot of cosmic secrets. For example, the process of reaching the top of the universe, or how the heavens collapsed back then. The master of this memory has the strength of a Tier 5 top emperor, and he was also the #1 powerhouse in the universe back then. Brother Juyu, can you see the usefulness of this Cosmos Gods and Demons board? Why does it suddenly appear here? Dongyan Jie Tianjiao turned off the topic and looked at Juyu. Juyu shook his head and said, I don't know, but this should be related to the Temple of Qishan mentioned by the Emperor. Indeed, apart from the Temple of Qishan, no one in the entire primitive universe has such a big hand. Everyone calmed down when they heard it. Originally, I was still discussing whose handwriting, but now I think about who else besides the Temple of Qishan. It seems that this time is the right one. Although it is dangerous, there are endless opportunities. The list of gods and demons is just the beginning. Suddenly a strong light burst out of the pitch-black void, and the stinging people couldn't open their eyes. Look, it's the direction we are fleeing. Everyone blocked the glare, squinting to look in the direction of the fleeing. This is probably the treasure of Brother Wushuang. It is strong enough, and he deserves to be a practitioner of the ultimate way. Huiqing, you should work hard too. Brother Wushuang is so strong in rank 3. You are also the ultimate way, and you are still rank 6, but the strength is still a bit worse than Brother Wushuang. Luo Shui covered his face and followed his fingers, looking at the place where the strong light came from, while still nagging little novice Huiqing. Shan. Huiqing closed her eyes and didn't look and slowly said, Brother Wushuang has always been stronger than me, and I admire it too. The dazzling light is the eruption of Jian Wushuang's origin. The origin of his body has undergone unprecedented changes at this moment, and countless rays of light have also appeared in the entire universe. These rays are all cracks. This is a precursor to the rupture of the universe, but those ghosts have not been swallowed up yet. If the universe bursts, he will be seriously injured, and he will not be able to run. In the bubble-shaped universe, numerous cracks have emerged. These gaps are like rivers, constantly producing tributaries, spreading to the entire universe. Jian Wushuang couldn't control so much at this time, desperately suppressing the source of the extreme path. The power of the source was flowing along his body. Now he has reached the point where he is not suppressing the source, but he is overwhelmed by the source. The power of the origin Dao surpassed his own power. This is the backlash of the Ji Dao. Fortunately, his soul has reached the 6th rank because of the accumulation of mind power, so he can barely control this power. No, I still can't hold it. Jian Wushuang endured tremendous torture, and the strength of the origin Tao made his container about to burst. Still overestimating his own strength, now that the arrow is on the line, he has to change direction temporarily. Bathed in the original breakthrough, let it die and live afterwards. The power flows within the body, and the exterior is surrounded by origin. He wants to use these two forces to contain each other, and let himself break through. Jian Wushuang closed his eyes, and a full view of the universe appeared in his mind. The golden origin was like quicksand falling down the top of the circular universe, and the golden quicksand almost covered the entire universe. Jian Wushuang endured the pain and began to break through. The difference between Dianxian and Yinxian is that the great avenues appear in the body, and the source leaks out. The wider the avenue, the stronger the strength of evolving immortals. In the third revolution, the avenue has a high height in the body, and the sixth revolution will raise the avenue to 100 feet. This is the best and most to achieve. The threshold of 3 to 6 turns is actually not high. It is not as high as the threshold of becoming an immortal. The former is only a tens of times improvement, while the latter needs to be increased 10,000 times. Since ancient times, the number of Yangxian's leapfrog battles of Dianxian is much less than that of 3-turn and 6-turn. This is also caused by the large gap in the level of Tao. Therefore, it is much easier to break through rank 3 and rank 6 than when Yinxian broke through Dianxian. But now Jian Wushuang is both internally and externally troubled. At this time, the difficulty of his breakthrough is not much different from when Yinxian broke through Dianxian. With golden light, Jian Wushuang thought about it with his heart. He thought of the giants he encountered in the starry sky. When he broke through the cage, golden light appeared in his chest. Finally, the liberation of life made him break through. One great axe, one force breaks 10,000 laws and breaks the supreme rules. In the end, the star cage was broken. Although this was nothing to Jian Wushuang at the time, he could not do it even if he was a giant who could give up his life, break through 10,000 ways, and get out of the cage. Later, when he left the starry sky, it was also a breakthrough in the extreme way. He took the diametrically opposite path to the giant. At first he felt that he was right. It seemed that he was stupid enough to fail to comprehend even the biggest gift Shinkong gave him. Wow! The golden quicksand slid down the universe, trying to cover the entire universe, and Jian Wushuang's body was being swallowed by the golden origin, and then stood up. Jian Wushuang suddenly opened his eyes, his breath reversed. The divine sword in his hand has long been eroded and clean, but at the moment there is no sword in his hand, there is a sword in his heart. The power of thinking is real. Swords are everywhere. He stands proudly in his own universe. At this moment he is the master of this world. Origin, avenue, universe, it's all vain. He wants to break all this. Rank 6. You can break it in a blink of an eye. A powerful breath broke out from him. This is the power of rank 6, but Jian Wushuang didn't take it seriously. He calmly raised his hand, and a sword appeared in his hand, and it simply slashed it from above. Wow! This sword is very ordinary, but also very scary. This sword is called immortality. Jian Wushuang yelled, and Jianing slashed down the universe. Silence. Then a dazzling light burst out, and the universe turned into two halves with a thought, and he reappeared in the void. The golden origin of the body, and the quicksand outside the original universe instantly transformed into a new universe. This universe expanded faster, spreading directly to thousands of miles away. This is breaking and then standing, first breaking through one's own cage, and then building one's own world. Yin universe reformed, and Jian Wushuang's origin avenue also rose to a level. The fourth layer of the Jidao immortality, he did it. Not only did he break through to rank 6 Dian immortal, but he also elevated Jidao to the 4th level. The ultimate way is also loosened at this moment, and it will soon reach the 6th level. The benefits of swallowing the origin are boundless, although this is also related to him. But without these ghosts, he would not be able to break through so quickly. Complement each other. The people like Juyu are okay. They can feel that they are the thousand-handed Buddha Lord in the world of Tongtian Buddhism, and they did not resist the situation and fell into the huge palm of their hands. Jian Wushuang is a bit miserable here. He desperately wants to escape from the palm of his hand, but no matter how he escapes, he can't escape from the palm of his hand. The Thousand Hands Buddha Lord was also a little annoyed, and immediately grabbed Jian Wushuang. The palm of his hand hadn't returned yet, and the figure of Thousand Hands Buddha once again took a step, and his figure had reached the Qishui Hall. The two palms that shuttled through the void met, and fell onto the other palm. Brother Wushuang, we meet again. Juyu smiled slightly, and reached out to help Jian Wushuang on the ground. Are you all right? Luo Shui and Xiaomi Huiqing hurriedly walked towards Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang was a little confused. Don't panic, it's the Emperor Thousand Hands, we are saved. Juyu, as an ancient nine turns perfect Dian immortal, naturally knew that this was the magical power of the Thousand Hands Buddha Lord. Jian Wushuang understood it instantly, and cursed in his heart. After finally getting rid of these people, and now being arrested again, he really didn't want to go with these emperors to the so-called Temple of Qishan. In his opinion, even if the Qishan Temple has the opportunity to make the 9th rank consummation Dian immortal become the emperor, this is probably only a partial chance, and it has no effect on him. He is just rank 6 now, and he wants to reach the 9th rank Yanxian as a chop. Isn't it just a cannon fodder to go to the Temple of Qishan? Unfortunately, the emperor personally brought him back, but he couldn't leave if he wanted to. Then I have to thank the emperor. Jian Wushuang stood firm, his expression sincere. Seeing his sincere expression, Juyu calmly said, The Lord Thousand Hands Buddha is very talkative. I will recommend you later. Jian Wushuang's flushed face said in a low voice. No, Yu reads www.akanshu.com. The emperor has a lot of opportunities, and now he is fighting for opportunities. I still don't bother. He couldn't forget the scene where he had just fled several times, and was caught back with a big hand. I am afraid that seeing the Thousand Hands Buddha Lord will not give him a good face, so he will not touch the brow, although he could say that he didn't know that it was the emperor's method. But there was no need to spread the panic. Let's take a step and look at it. The huge palm soon passed through the pitch-black void, and there was a bright light in front of it. Wow! The void was torn and closed again. Jian Wushuang and his party fell in a hall. Come to me. A stern voice sounded. Jian Wushuang and the others looked up, and saw the towering Buddha standing in front of them. Before everyone could say more, they were moved behind the Buddha. Looking at the majestic figure, and then at the huge pair of palms, it should be that the Lord Thousand-Handed Buddha didn't run away. After falling into the seat behind the towering Buddha, they could see the surroundings clearly. In addition to the Thousand-Handed Buddha, there are hundreds of extremely powerful auras in this hall, each of which is a powerful emperor. Everyone took a breath. It was the first time for him to see such a big scene, and it would be difficult to see the emperor, as if it were ascending to the sky. Now so many emperors have gathered together. They can't believe it. Fortunately, Jian Wushuang had seen dozens of emperors in the world of Tongtian Buddhism, and he could still accept this scene at this time. Dozens of emperors came to a world of Tongtian Buddhism. He wanted to come in the hall, and there were other world emperors, but he looked around and found no real Wuyang. It stands to reason that Desiyu is also very close here. So why should Jin Wuyang be here too? Jian Wushuang was a little puzzled, but when he saw the void outside the hall, there was still an eternal cave floating. He thought he was on the wrong team. Chapter 5165. Inside the Qishui Hall, the arrival of Jian Wushuang and the others was inconspicuous. At this time, emperors continued to arrive at the hall with Dian Immortal. Ancestor, the emperor of the Great Dream Realm, has already brought some Dian Immortals. A Great Dream Clan emperor respectfully said, Well, first bring all these good seedlings. Let them find a way to come over the rest. The distance to the Big Dream is not too far. If they can't get through this, they don't need to enter the Temple of the Gods. Daming Daozu arbitrarily ordered. Please help me. Mimi Reading App, can steal book tickets like stealing food. Come steal the book tickets of your friends and vote for me. He himself brought all the elite Dian immortals of the Big Dream clan. And many of them had several Tianjiao, who ranked in the top 1,000 of the universe's gods and demons. As for the other Dian immortals, he can help too, and the rest is up to himself. In the hall at this time, the number of emperors continued to increase, and soon there were thousands of emperors, and Dianxian even exceeded 10 million. The Dian immortals who can be here are almost all the powerhouses of rank 9 or rank 9 consummation. Only a few are rank 6, and there are none at rank 3. Everyone it's almost there. As a lone traveler, Qishui Walker had no ethnic group or influence under his command. Only some special beings in the secret realm he controlled were his subordinates. Each of these special beings possessed the second rank avenue. Their physical bodies were extremely powerful, and their life levels were thousands of times higher than that of ordinary races. However, their cultivation is also more difficult. Only dozens of them can become Dian immortals, and only 2 of them can achieve consummation in rank 9. 2 special beings, a man and a woman, stood behind Qishui Traveler. Both of them are ranked in the top 1,000 in the Cosmic Gods and Demons list. In addition, Qishui Walker has no ethnic group or power, so some treasures that are of little use to him are given to these 2 subordinate. Said to be subordinates, in fact, Qishui Traveler has always regarded them as his own children. Leader, I'm all here. Qishui, you can start. I don't have many evangelists under my command, and I have brought them all this time. Many emperors spoke one after another, and they couldn't wait. After all Yinxian disappeared, the Temple of Qishan released a message, telling them that the trial of the Temple of Qishan was about to begin. According to the message, the trial is divided into 3 steps. The first step is the great screening of Yinxian. The immortals of the entire universe have gathered in the subsidiary world of the Qishan Temple. They are the first people to accept the inheritance, and the trials given by the Qishan Temple are also quite harsh. The fairy cultivating in each affiliated world can only survive one success, and the one with the top 1,000 can accept the next round of trials. The rest are all sent back to their respective worlds, and will be bestowed by the source of the attached world. As for what is bestowed, it depends on the ranking. This is the first trial, and the second step is the screening of Dian immortals. At last it will be the Emperor's turn. Click. The ancient and quiet Temple of the Gods gradually punched the door. Now that they are all together, let's go in. After almost understanding the structure of the Temple of Fortune, the emperors of them were relieved, and they were not starting a fight for the time being. Dian Immortal enters the first passage, and Emperor enters the second. The voice of Qishui Traveler spread throughout the entire hall. Many Dian Immortals began to enter the Temple of Qishan in a panic. Wait to enter the Temple of Qishan. Don't be careless. This is a great opportunity. Take it well, and strive to become the Emperor. All kinds of encouraging words sounded, but as they said, this opportunity is unprecedented. If you don't cherish it, I'm afraid you will regret it for a lifetime. Yes, everyone answered in unison, and then left the Qishui Hall, walked towards the void, and entered the Qishan Hall. Inside the Ion, Feng Yumajuan looked at the outside world sharply. Sure enough, the Dian Immortal Passage was opened first. It seems that the Qishan Temple will not let us in without waiting for the emperors of other regions to arrive. Fengyu Emperor said coldly, "This is also very normal. The Temple of Qishan was built by the power of ancient civilization. It is a relic of screening inheritors. Xianxian and Dianxian are just trying to try their luck. What we really need are emperors and powerful people like me." Zhen Wuyang thoughtfully, "This is the same as they speculated. From the point of view of the Qishan Temple, it is necessary to have a strong source to enter the Qishan Temple. So all the gods will be recruited into the Qishan Temple. As for how many Dian Immortals can come, the Qishan Temple is true. I don't care about this. From the perspective of Qishan Temple, Yinxian is no different from Dianxian. What they select is the Tianjiao among Tianjiao. As for the strength, these can be cultivated later, as long as the comprehension is high and the great Tao is strong. These are all cultivated on their own, and there are many foreign objects in the temple. Moreover, the trial opened by the Temple of Fortune is the highest trial, and many inheritors are needed. According to the framework, it is more like training a space army. Each affiliated world selects 1,000 eternal immortals, and there are millions of them in total. To cultivate 1,000,000 eternal immortals at a time, such a big handwork is by no means as simple as cultivating 1 or 2 inheritors. You guys go in too. Feng Yumajuan opened the portal of the Ion Tower. Everyone in the tower bowed, shouting in unison, "Thanks, Monarch." The Ion Tower and the tens of millions of Dian immortals in the Qishui Hall were crushed in black, and they entered the Qishan Hall together. Tao Zuwi, Juyu and the others looked anxiously at the people who continued to enter the Temple of Qishan. Don't worry, it's not that whoever gets advanced will get the benefits. The majestic voice of Thousand Hands Buddha rang. The Tongtian Buddha and the Immeasurable Buddha were talking with other emperors. As for Jian Wushuang, he was even less worried. He also learned a lot about the Qishan Temple from other people. Although his heart moved, he knew what he needed. Although the Qishan Temple was magical, he might not be able to help him. With this time, he might as well devour those ghosts. So many ghosts in the entire great wilderness. Maybe taking advantage of the fact that the emperor is paying attention to the Temple of the Gods this time, he can step into the 9th rank consummation in one fell swoop. This is a great opportunity. Tongtian, your people can also go in. Qishui Xingzhi smiled. So many Dian immortals naturally have to enter in batches. Although the Temple of Qishan does not distinguish between before and after, these emperors still strive to let their disciples go in first. The principle of first and first served has been embedded in their bones, and various relics are usually the secret realm is dominated by first movers. Although the Temple of Qishan is different this time, it still uses the old one. Thank you, Lord. Tongtian Buddha's face was full of smiles. Then directly transmit the sound thousands of hands. Tongtian Buddha doesn't care when his subordinates will enter. He now cares more about himself. Since joining the Qishui alliance, he has been wooing all the forces. He has at least reached an alliance with several forces in secret. Especially for those who are alone, he is even more personally wooed. As long as he has tier 4 strength, he almost reached an alliance. Chapter 5166. Although the Qishui alliance is now hugging each other, they understand the truth of the disaster. They have now begun to plan what happened after the collapse of the Scarlet Water Alliance. For this, Qishui Traveler also closed one eye, and since he learned how to enter the Temple of Qishan, he didn't care about Qishui Alliance anymore. Several tier 4 top emperors, he has greeted him, and he can form alliances after entering the Temple of Qishan. He doesn't care about the rest of the strong, because he can't help him anymore. As a third-order emperor, Qinsho Buddha had different circles. Naturally, he didn't know what Tongtian Buddha was talking about, but after receiving the transmission, he hurriedly greeted everyone to prepare to enter the Temple of Qishan. Juyu, you are the strongest, and you were the same generation as me back then. You are an elder. You enter the Temple of Qishan, and protect other people a lot. Thousand-handed Buddha is also as Juyu said, with a good temper and no other emperor. So high above. This is rare among the third-order emperors. The third-order emperors are generally the leaders of a large force. How can they be so easy to talk? Especially those second-tier emperors, with their nostrils facing the sky. The weaker their strength is in the same tier, the more they like to show off in front of Dian. Most of these emperors have reached the end of the avenue, and there is no hope to improve their strength. Before they merged, the origin avenue was very weak. They were all ordinary 4th-rank avenues, or 5th-rank avenues. Jealous. This can also be said in the past, and even some emperors with gloomy hearts specially hunted down those Tianjiao among the Dian immortals. Fortunately, there were so many emperors this time, and those evil emperors didn't dare to rush into action. After all, the Dian immortal present were all Tianjiao elites in a world, and no one dared to arouse public outrage at this time. Xiedijuan, I will pay attention. There was light in Jiu Ye's eyes. His peers are all third-order emperors, And he is still the ninth turn consummation, saying that he is not in a hurry and has been merging many great avenues. In fact, he is more anxious than anyone. But the unity of 10,000 ways is so easy. If he does not reach the original consummation in one day, he will not be able to unite. And let's go in. Thousand-handed Buddha master waved his hand, and everyone had been moved out of the Qishui hall. Juyu, I hope that when you come back, you will succeed in harmony. Juyu in the void turned his head. He received the voice transmission from the Lord Thousand Hands Buddha, nodded and muttered silently in his heart. Definitely. Brother Qianshou. He can't forget the happy appearance of his friends who once stood side by side after the success of Hadao. On the Tongtian mountain that year, one of their generation's arrogances was successful, and the other was not in harmony. Go! Jiuyu turned his head. His eyes revealed madness, and said sharply. Hundreds of people from Tongtian Buddha world entered the Qishan temple together. Since Jian Wushuang was not a practitioner of the world of Tongtian Buddhism, he followed at the end, and went with Hui Qing. Before entering the temple of Qishan, Jian Wushuang felt a pair of huge eyes looking at him, turned his head, and looked at the Ion Tower floating in the void. A stalwart figure appeared in his mind. It's Shen Wuyang. Jian Wushuang stepped quickly, and directly entered the temple of Qishan. He also learned about the previous battle in Qishui Hall. Several emperors have fallen, and the ancestors of the Dongyan realm have fallen. There are also several emperors he has heard of, those who were powerful in the ancient times of Desiyu. Just after being glanced at by Zhen Wuyang, he felt that his back was chilling, but he wasn't considered a betrayal. He was not a person from Zhen Wuyang. Zhen Wuyang retracted his eyes, closed his eyes and said in his heart, "Good luck, little guy." He also managed to move some of the ninth ranks of Desiyu, but few had potential. It was cannon fodder when they entered, but Jian Wushuang gave him a big surprise. In a short period of time, he broke through to rank 6 Dian Immortal, which is still the ultimate way, and even ranked in the top 100 million of the universe gods and demons. Rank 6 is the first 100 million, and when the 9th rank is complete, he will be able to enter the top 1,000. Although he does not understand the rules of Dian Immortal, the top 1,000 of all Dian Immortals are also worthy of training in the Temple of Qishan. It may be a big help for him. However, it is too difficult to combine the ultimate way. There is only one ultimate emperor in the universe. He can't believe that Jian Wushuang will be able to succeed. However, as the only practitioner of the ultimate way in Desiyu, he prefers swords. Wushuang can succeed together. Call. Jian Wushuang breathed a sigh of relief when he entered the Qishan temple. He was really afraid that Zhen Wuyang would cut him with a single knife. In the darkness, Jian Wushuang couldn't see where he was. This is. He was a little dazed, his eyes were pitch black, but he looked up at the sky. But it was a starry sky. The ancient breath came to his face, and then he disappeared in place. Original star codename Jiajiu. Before Jian Wushuang could react, there was a deep voice in his ears. As a strong light flashed, it was no longer pitch black before his eyes, and he could see the scene clearly. After looking around, he found that it was a desolate star, a bare mountain, a gray-white continent, and a depleted lake. Only a small part of the people who entered the Temple of Qishan with him moved to this primordial star. And he couldn't feel the breath of the others. There is a world in the Temple of Qishan. Jian Wushuang's figure flickered and appeared in the sky above primordial star, a barrier blocking his figure. He can see other primitive stars through the barrier talk, and there are 36 primitive stars in this world. Brother Wushuang. The little novice Huiqing flew from a distance. The little novice monk now is no longer the kind-hearted little novice monk who knows everything. The original monk's robes were also changed into loose long robes, but his white face contained a pair of sharp eyes. After seeing the little novice monk, Jian Wushuang nodded and didn't say much. The two fell on the ground, and other practitioners also found them, but because they didn't know each other, they were far apart, and they were very guarded. Ding! A crisp voice sounded, and an old man with a rickety figure appeared above the primordial star. He was carrying a light lantern, his face was full of folds, and a white eyelid in his eyelid turned. I recommend that the novel app I'm using recently, Myriad app, Android and Apple phones support it. Temple of Chishan, the highest trial now begins. The rickety old man's voice was hoarse, and after leaving a simple sentence, he disappeared into this Jiajio primordial star. When everyone heard it, they were taken aback for a moment, and then each of their eyes revealed the killing intent. After Jian Wushuang and Huiqing looked at each other, they quickly moved towards the nearest mountain pulse. Before the rickety old man left, he also passed a message to them. After entering the mountains, the two of them were considered to have put down their guard, and at the same time the sky tilted countless beams of light. In each beam of light, there is a white token. The rickety old man walked forward and summoned all. Once he got his token, he could start killing. Chapter 5167. The Gray-White Primordial Star, except for the mountains, is a bare continent, which is easy to be besieged. Jian Wushuang and Huiqing can meet, and other forces are not sure how many people are on this primordial star. Once they hold a group, they will definitely besiege and kill those alone. That's why Jian Wushuang took the little novice monk and quickly hid in the mountains, hiding his breath here. First get the token to understand the rules. Although the two of them are abnormal in strength, the ranking in the universe is nothing. The tens of millions of Dian immortals who entered the Temple of Chishan this time are all powerhouses ranked in the top 100 million, and the lowest threshold is rank 9 strength. This is only 1/5 of the entire universe. I believe it won't be long before Dian immortals from other worlds will come. After getting the identity token, the two of them moved again and came to a dark canyon. The entire gorge is bare, except for some messy old wooden branches and the corpses of some wild beasts. Huiqing's figure fell beside Jian Wushuang, looking at the corpses, lowered her head and muttered goodness. Although these corpses looked very long, they may have been extinct in the original universe, but they could feel how long these corpses should have not been dead. The flesh and blood on it was swallowed by a certain technique. Jian Wushuang waved his hand and opened a simple cave. For the highest trial, all primordial stars were probably forcibly opened up by a certain mighty person. These wild beasts, dry lakes, vegetation and forests were all drained of life, and the originally vibrant planets were made into primordial stars. However, it is the Temple of Chishan. A small world has been transformed into a battlefield of Shura. The two were sitting cross-legged in the cave. Let's take a look at the rules first. Jian Wushuang said lightly, now that you have entered the Temple of Chishan, no matter how you live, it would be great if you can still reap some benefits. Holding the white token, a trace of power was injected, and countless information appeared in his mind instantly. The highest trial of the Chishan Temple is divided into 5 regions, and each world has 36 primitive stars, and there are millions of Dian immortals in the unclassified primitive stars. Wufang Realm. Jian Wushuang was a little surprised. According to the Dian immortal of their eastern region, 1 domain is enough, and now there are 5 domains. That is to say, most of the Dian immortals in the entire universe have entered the Temple of Chishan. But isn't Chishan Temple in the Great Desolation? No, Jian Wushuang reacted. And the Temple of Chishan may have appeared in other big worlds. No wonder the supreme trial of Dian immortal by Chishan Temple is so fast. Divided into 5 domains, then they will not encounter it now, and it will not affect him at all. The screening of Dian immortal is much lower than the screening requirements of Immortal Yen, which is the top 1,000 in every world. But the trial of Dian immortal has different requirements. The Dian immortal with the top 10,000 primordial stars can be bestowed by the gods, and the first 1,000 can accept the inheritance contained in the primordial stars. Then a small ranking appeared in his mind. The first Lei Wanhe 9th round completed Dianxian, with a record of 330. The second Chang Lingxian, 9th rank completed Dianxian with a record of 110. Ranked 769,358. Jian Wushuang, record 0. Division of record. Identity token 100 points. The 9th revolving consummation Dianxian 1,000 points. Rank 9 Dian immortal 100 points. Note: you can get 10 times points for killing by higher order, The trial time is 30 years. Jian Wushuang suddenly opened his eyes. He was planning to hide here and wait for the trial to end before going out. Now it seems that he can really make a profit. The trial of the Qishan Temple places great importance on stepping up, and under the temptation of 10 times the reward. This is forcing those 9th-ranked Dayan immortals to deal with 9 ranks consummation. Insert one sentence. Mic reading app. It's really good. It's worth installing. Even Android and Apple phones support it. However, there is no 10-fold reward for the 9th rank consummation, and it is necessary to continue to hunt down the 9 ranks, or kill the same rank. Under such rules, the entire primordial star will really become a surer field. Brother Wushuang. Huiqing put away the identity token. His eyes were a little hot. The siege of 9 turns is complete. Jian Wushuang's voice trembled a little. Both of them are rank 6 Dayan immortals. If they can really encircle rank 9 consummation, they will get a 100-fold reward. One rank 9 perfect Dayan immortal has a record of 1,000, and a 100-fold is a record of 100,000. As long as a few rounds of 9 consummation are achieved, the two of them will be among the best, waiting for the end of the trial to reap the benefits. After Huiqing heard what he said, she hesitated, as if 2 consciousnesses were fighting in her mind, and finally nodded. Good. Jian Wushuang leaked a smile. He could see that the little novice Huiqing had changed a lot, but everyone had a secret, and he didn't even bother to ask. The two made a plan. First set up a large formation in the valley, and one person went out to lure the 9th rank consummation Dayan immortal to pursue and kill, and then besieged. As for the distribution of the record, UU Reading Book www.akanshu.com is calculated by the Temple of Qi, who contributes more, the more records you get. At the same time, an unprecedented battle broke out on Primordial Star, and the ranking of this Primordial Star is constantly changing. Numerous rank 9 Dayan immortals competed for helmets, and the rank 9 Dayan immortals did not dare to show up on all continents. These 9th turn consummation Dayan immortals have already become popular. In the first year, the 9th ranked Dayan immortal is almost the target of all the 9th ranked consummation Dayan immortals. Fortunately, the lone 9th ranked Dayan immortal starts Baotuan can barely survive. However, there are also many powerful 9th ranked Dayan immortals that can match 9 ranks consummation. For example, the top 1000 Lord of the Years is rank 9 Dayan immortal. He once killed a severely injured rank 9 perfect Dayan immortal in a big melee, and then successively killed several rank 9 Dayan immortals. The ranking has surpassed a lot of rank 9 perfect Dayan immortals. In a blink of an eye, 3 years have passed. The big dogfights in the original star no longer appeared, and the rankings began to solidify. Then their battles became extremely difficult. It was no longer a battle of strength, but more of a battle of wits and courage. No one who could survive was the weak. They are all the 9th rank consummation, or the real strong in the 9th rank. In the past 3 years, Jian Wushuang and Huiqing finally arranged the next powerful formation. This was arranged by Huiqing based on the simplified version of Wuliang Mountain's Wuliang Grand Formation. Although it is a simplified version, it can be used as a defensive formation for Emperor Jun's dojo. Most Dayan immortals who have completed the 9th revolution. Finally, the arrangement is complete. It just so happens that now those 9 ranks perfect Dayan immortals have accumulated a lot of achievements. We can start. Jian Wushuang's eyes were sharp. And now the trial has passed 1/10 of the time. And the rest time is not too much, and time is not much. Chapter 5168. The weak points of the 9th turn consummation have also fallen. Now they are left with some strong people in the 9th turn consummation Dayan immortal. They really want to besieged and killed a strong in the 9th turn consummation Dayan immortal. The time they need it's not short. After all, it is common for the strong to fight and fight for thousands of years. In the case of not much difference in strength, if you want to quickly kill the opponent, you can only rely on some big formations or burning divine bodies. Huiqing, you hide the big formation. I will seduce. Remember that once I enter the big formation, be careful not to hurt me. Jian Wushuang solemnly confessed. Even if it's a simplified version, this big formation is still infinitely powerful. The two of them can barely guard it. Guiqing hides the big formation alone. He is the same when launching the big formation. It is difficult to control the power of the big formation. Once there is any, the difference may cause both of them to suffer backlash. Relax. Guiqing nodded with firm eyes. Huh. Jian Wushuang's figure was already out of the canyon. After looking around, he could slightly feel a wave of power fluctuations in the nearby mountains. After hiding the power of his body, he quickly flew in the direction of the fluctuations. Primordial star, said to be a planet, is comparable in size to some small domains. Even if the 9-turn complete Dian Immortal travels around the primordial star, it will take a year, and it cannot be teleported within the primordial star. Flying all the way, Jian Wushuang also observed the surroundings. Primordial star, as Dian Immortal's Shura field, has a very peculiar geological structure, and the surface of the stars is also extremely tough. It is difficult to destroy those mountains by ordinary means, but now after several battles, many mountains all were chopped down, and the power of the source was still burning everywhere in the ruins. Jian Wushuang has also seen the path of immortal bones accumulated by hundreds of millions of immortal bones. And he can accept all of this. After all, this is the temple of Qishan. If you want to get the benefits, you have to fight. Even in some cosmic secret realms, a lot of Dian Immortals would fall away a lot. However, the appearance of the temple of Qishan this time was a feast for the entire universe. And it was also a killing. After this opportunity, the powerhouses of the primitive universe will probably be reduced by more than half. The reduction in number is a good thing for the origin of the universe, and can reduce the burden. Although the quantity has been reduced by half, the quality can be increased several times. I am afraid that by then the primitive universe will truly rise in the long river of time and space, dazzling an entire era. On the primordial star, in a defeated mountain range, a sturdy middle-aged man bare-armed with a spear in one hand. There are several scars on his face, and there are several cracks in his strong upper body. This was formed by causing indelible damage to the divine body, and he stood motionless on the ruined battlefield. That wave radiated from him. Jian Wushuang had a keen sense of smell, and the closer he was, the more he could lock the target position. With the effort of a cup of tea, he came to this dilapidated battlefield. Jian Wushuang turned sharply, fell into the battlefield and was 3 feet off the ground, floating in the air. After looking around, he looked at the weak aura Dian Immortal standing on the battlefield. 9 primitive star, ranks in the 9th revolution of 7,867, to complete Dian Immortal Zhongsheng. He comes from a small world, the number 1 strong in that small world, and the master of that world. But he is the 2nd-order emperor, and the whole world is a 2nd-order emperor. There are not many 9-ranked Dian Immortals reaching 9. The leading young man, dressed in luxurious robes, with indifference in his triangular eyes, said lightly, "Kill him." If they had encountered rank 9 Dian Immortal before, they might be recruited under their command, but now there are more fleshy young wolves. Kill this kid. Well, change places and go to the Flame Demon Canyon. There is no more fish here. The triangular-eyed man's voice was negative. He has also caught a lot of strong players here, and the record he has obtained is also considerable. The rankings of everyone present are in the top 20,000, and he himself is ranked in the top 10,000. The reason is that the 9th-ranked Consummation Dian Immortal, they first besieged him and severely injured him, and after leaving a sigh of relief, they sealed it here to lure other Dian Immortals. Because of this strategy, he was also promoted to be the eldest brother by these people. Jian Wushuang's eyes flashed. These people were not weak, and it was not easy to solve them all at once. The most important thing is that if these people can't be solved at a time and a half, and cause other strong people to come over, it's not good. Chapter 5169. 1 or 2 rounds of the Nineth rank perfect Dian Immortal. He can resist, And once more than dozens of powerful people come together, even he can't guarantee that he can drag them into the prearranged big formation. Everyone, if you have to do it. Jian Wushuang's eyes turned and glanced at the approaching crowd. His figure suddenly flashed. Song. The spear held in the hand of the ninth turn consummation Dian Immortal suddenly pierced out. Jian Wushuang's figure also left an afterimage. He mobilized his thought power spear to explode with a momentum that was no less than the offensive of the ninth revolution consummation Dian Immortal, killing the triangular-eyed man directly. Die to me. The thief caught the king first, and Jian Wushuang locked the leading man with triangular eyes as soon as he moved his hand. The spear pierced the sky like a dragon, and Jian Wushuang's figure reached the triangle-eyed man at this moment. Before everyone else could react, the spear pierced the triangle-eyed man's chest, and Jian Wushuang appeared behind the triangle-eyed man, took the bloodstained spear, and slammed his fist with the other hand. The head of a man with triangular eyes. Boom! All this happened in an instant, causing no one else to react, and the man with triangle eyes had fallen. Jian Wushuang held a blood-stained spear in one hand, and pinched the corpse of a man with triangle eyes in the other. Rank 6 Dian Immortal killed Rank 9 Dian Immortal, and got 1,000 record. A message appeared in Jian Wushuang's mind. In addition to the basic record, Jian Wushuang also obtained the cumulative record of the triangular-eyed man, which is more than 20,000, but because of the leapfrog kill, even the cumulative record has doubled tenfold. More than 200,000, Jian Wushuang's startled eyes almost fell out, and his own ranking instantly entered the top 5,000. This is simply terrifying. He thought that only the basic record would double, but he did not expect that even the accumulated record would double. If you kill a 9th rank who has accumulated a record of 100,000 and complete Dian Immortal, then he will get a record of tens of millions. This, Jian Wushuang originally wanted to kill their boss and left, so as not to be watched. These 9th rank Dian Immortals only cost 1,000 points, which is not worth the risk. Now it seems that it must be killed. This exceeded his estimate. He didn't know that this was a special treatment unique to rank 6 Dian Immortal, but it was not recorded in the identity token. Go! The other 9th rank Dian Immortal, depending on the situation, fled around one after another. Jian Wushuang was able to kill their eldest brother in no time, and he could kill any of them. Even if they besieged them, he would die a lot. This kind of risk is too great. Why don't you just run away? As for revenge, I'm not familiar with it at all. If it hadn't been for the man with triangle eyes to be a bit tricky, he wouldn't take refuge in him. It was a meeting on the water, and they were doing the business of killing people and selling goods together. Now that the ship sinks, they naturally jumped off the ship and escaped. These people fled separately. Jian Wushuang really couldn't chase after him, so he could only deal with the few people who were closer to him. The record entered his identity token with a smashing record. Although the records of those few have accumulated only a few thousand, it can be tens of thousands of times more than 10 times. With the triangle-eyed man, he won a record of 350,000 this time, ranking in the top 4. It's still a bit far away from the first 1,000. Jian Wushuang put away the token and looked down at the sealed 9 turns consummation Dian Immortal. If you use your weapon, I will leave you a whole corpse. Jian Wushuang raised his hand, and a powerful thought was instantly injected into his mind. Killing in silence is the power of thought. Successfully killed Zhong Sheng on rank 9, and won a record of 150,000. Looking at the number displayed, Jian Wushuang didn't have too many surprises. Killing this 9th rank perfect Dian Immortal, he didn't have much effort at all, and it was not bad to have 150,000. After putting away the treasure spear, he could already feel that several magnificent auras rose to the sky, rushing towards this side. Although the movement just now was not big, it still aroused the powerhouses in the surrounding area. Go! Jian Wushuang's figure flickered, and soon disappeared into the sky. After just a few breaths, a 9-turn consummation Dian Immortal arrived here. He did not suppress his breath at all, and his behavior was extremely domineering. It's late. A dozen of rank 9 Dian Immortals who can kill are running for their lives. They are good. and they should have reached the top level of rank 9. Behind the overbearing man is a crescent-shaped flying blade, revealing its power. It's so powerful. Arcana is also divided into extreme grades. The power of the ordinary treasures is generally enough to reach the rank 9s. Most of the top treasures are weapons of the rank 9's Dian Fairy. Like the powerhouses of the 9 ranks perfect Dian Fairy, it is not enough to use the ordinary treasures. Just like Jian Wushuang, the whole Bodhi's supreme treasures were just enough for the time when they were born. Once they broke through to become a Dian Immortal, facing those 9th rank, or even 9th rank Dian Immortals, these treasures were not enough. Only the pinnacle treasure, or a higher level of innate treasure, can meet the current needs. Normally, Dian Immortal will use the peak supreme treasure at most, but now that the Temple of Qixin is opened, the major forces have released the treasure house, and even the innate supreme treasure used by the Emperor has been given to the original powerful 9-rank perfect Dian. This overbearing figure of the 9th revolving consummation Dian Immortal was born into a great power. Yu reading www. When Akanshu.com entered the Temple of Qixin, the Emperor gave him an innate treasure, the crescent-shaped blade behind him. This is the top existence in the 9 revolutions of consummation. After possessing this innate treasure, his strength has touched the threshold of the peak, which is enough to rank in the top 1,000 of this original star. In this mountain range, he alone killed a few rank 9 ranks to achieve consummation, and the rank 9 level Dian Immortal slaughtered countless more. Now that he has the 9th turn to complete Dian Immortal, he dared to kill his prey on his chassis. His brows were slightly frowned, and his eyes were cold. Recommended. Mic reading app. Really good. It is worth installing one. After all, you can cache reading and read aloud offline. After a burst of air, he shot out, and in the blink of an eye, he flew millions of miles away. Jian Wushuang hadn't gone far at this time, and he wasn't in a hurry. He was originally here to lure the 9th rank consummation Dian Immortal. He ran too fast, and he couldn't capture his breath at all. After his body flickered a few times again, Jian Wushuang's heart moved have the bait. That domineering aura permeated the entire mountain range. Although the distance was still very far away, Jian Wushuang could feel that the other party was rushing towards him. No, he is too fast. Jian Wushuang's figure suddenly accelerated, but it was too late, and the domineering aura that dominated the entire mountain range had already arrived behind him. For a while he was also a little panicked. The usual 9th ranked consummation, he is not necessarily afraid, but to catch up with this one behind him, his momentum alone is not comparable to the ordinary 9th ranked consummation Dian Immortal. Except for Juyu. This is the most powerful immortal he has ever encountered. You can't escape, the overbearing man behind Jian Wushuang shouted angrily, and Crescent Blade instantly rushed out, slashing towards Jian Wushuang. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.